Yeah.
Hello, good evening everybody. Thank you all for coming. I'll be chairing the meeting this evening, and before we begin I'd just like to cover a few brief housekeeping points. As a reminder, our meetings are governed by formal rules known as standing orders, which are in place to ensure meetings run fairly and efficiently. These are available on our website or by the clerk. This includes expectations for the conduct of everyone present, councillors and members of the public alike. A separate leaflet outlining how public participation works at our meetings, including how and when you can speak, is available on the council's website. Please do take a moment to refer to that if you haven't already. As chair of the meeting, I will always encourage respectful and constructive participation. I'm sure everyone here will continue to behave appropriately, but I must make clear that obstructive, offensive or improper behaviour will not be tolerated. Please note that the meeting is being recorded. I'll be grateful if you could switch any digital devices to silent so we can minimise interruptions. And finally, I would remind members that comments should relate directly to the agenda item under discussion, and that the meeting is not a forum for personal statements unless specifically permitted by the chair. So, first on the agenda is apologies for absence, but everybody is here. Although we have received apologies from our Surrey County Councillor and Borough County Councillor that they said they're unable to make it this evening. Both have said though that they've got nothing additional to report over what they said at the last meeting. Number 2 is declarations of interests and any requests for dispensations.
Chair, can I just raise something on that one? I've been looking, as you directed me to look at the standing orders and the code of conduct in terms of declaring interests. And looking at section 13 of the code of conduct, dispensations need to be sought in respect of disclosable pecuniary interests. It also refers you back to the code of conduct. The code of conduct also talks about non-participation in case of disclosable pecuniary interests, and you only have to disclose other registrable interests if it directly relates to financial interests. So I just want to be quite clear, because I think we may have been getting wider in terms of the declarations of interest than are required or stipulated by the Code of Conduct. And in that regard, I obviously refer to the fact that I am chair of the Village Hall Committee. Now, just for the record, I should say that the Village Hall Committee has passed a resolution such that I am not to be involved with or to have any matters discussed with me relating to Wood Lane and the Wood Lane land. So that I've been cut out of that entirely. But in any event, that wouldn't be a disclosable pecuniary interest, because I have no pecuniary interest in the Village Hall, and it wouldn't affect directly any pecuniary interest that I have. So having looked at the Code of Conduct, having looked at the standing orders, whilst last meeting you suggested I should be thinking about whether I need to declare an interest, having reviewed the standing orders, as I say, and the Code of Conduct, I don't think it's appropriate that I need to, unless the clerk wants to refer me to some point of principle that I've missed.
It's up to yourself as a councillor.
Certainly the Code of Conduct says that in questions I should refer to the clerk. So I've set out what my reasoning and my understanding is. Plainly, if that is wrong, the clerk should correct me on that. Is my understanding correct?
Yes, it says up to councillors to declare interests.
In that case, I'm not declaring any interests, because I have no disclosable pecuniary interest, which is what our Code of Conduct refers to and what our standing order refers to.
Does our Code of Conduct not include ORIs and NRIs? Are you saying it doesn't?
Not if you go to, I've got it in front of me, I'm not seeking to be difficult. Page 11, non-participation in case of a disclosable pecuniary interest, and that's obviously table 1, none of those are engaged. Registrable interests are only if it directly relates to financial interests, and that doesn't arise.
So you're saying in the standing orders? Or the code of conduct?
Both. I've cross-referenced them.
As Ryan suggests, it's up to each member to...
But I thought it was important for me to put on the record what my understanding of what our code of conduct and standing order is.
My understanding is that we have DPIs and we have ORIs and we have NRIs, so non-registrable interests. So as long as you're clear that there are three different
yes, so
interests
disposable of pecuniary interest in terms of the code of conduct are dealt with at Appendix 8, paragraphs 4 and 5. ORIs are dealt with at paragraph 6 and NRIs are dealt with at paragraph 7. And so I have satisfied myself that they are not engaged.
Sure.
I believe I have a non-registrable interest in agenda items 12 and 15. In line with our code of conduct and standing orders, I withdraw from the room when these items are discussed and intend to speak as a member of the public during item 7.
So what was that in relation to item 7, Councillor?
That's simply representation from the public. So I'm going to make representation as a member of the public.
12 and 15.
So I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm going to make a representation as a member of the public.
You're a parish councillor.
I'm still allowed to do that.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't want to use my rights as a member of the public.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine. What's your interest, Will?
So I live adjacent to the land.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, whilst it's not on the agenda or an agenda item, following the last meeting, councillors were sent and received planning applications from the clerk for comment. When providing my comments to the clerk, I advised that one application was from a member of the parish council and the other was from a neighbour. I felt it was right to declare a non-registrable interest, as I know both of these applicants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not entirely convinced. I've got a dispensation for it, but I'm not sure whether I actually need it in the first place.
In relation to which item?
You have to declare. Are you declaring an interest? Yeah.
Well, I have declared it already, so...
You have to do it at each meeting.
Right. So I'm declaring an interest, and I guess in relation to 12, 15... Yeah, 12 and 15.
Yeah. What is that interest, please?
That I'm known to Hampton's estate.
You're known to them, okay.
Well, it's all on file, isn't it?
Sure, just as guidance, I'd say that interests have to be declared at each meeting. And obviously if you require a dispensation for those interests, then that has to be submitted at the beginning of the meeting.
Well, even though the dispensation has been granted till the end of the year.
It depends what that dispensation was for, as to whether it's appropriate to what's on the agenda now.
Okay. I've noted your interest in that.
Sure, thank you. I will declare an interest in item number 12, and this is because that item discusses a previous arrangement where, or previous indication by Seale Village Hall that they were interested in the Wood Lane land. A close associate of mine is a trustee of Seale Village Hall. I have sought and received a dispensation to allow me to participate and vote on that matter. Okay, thank you very much. So,
Can I raise a point of order?
yes,
I'd like to raise a motion under Standing Orders 10A6 to change the order of our agenda items. The items don't seem to be in a particularly logical order, and I also don't believe that they're in the order they were submitted in. I would propose that after item 11 we deal with items 18 and 15 before returning then to item 12. I think that would be more logical. 11 and 18 go together, and 15 and 12 go together.
so 11 and 18, did you say?
Followed by, do 11, then do 18,
Right, and then what was the other one?
then do 15.
You have to start again, sorry.
So do 11 and then 18.
And this will be after.
So item number 11 is the detailed monthly clerk report, to be followed by the chairman and clerk's monthly report circulation requirements. So we deal with those two together because they sit together.
We do have to obviously debate each item individually.
Yes, but I think it's just time efficiency more than anything.
Okay.
And then in terms of 15 and
And then followed by 12.
12 and 15, if 15 is approved, as I suggested by email, I appreciate we need it for the record, but if 15 is approved as a way forward, which is to discuss, open discussions with Hampton, that would mean that time and energy in terms of investigating other alternatives wouldn't be required. So we could defer 12, but 15 should come before 12, because if 15 is accepted as a route forward for this parish council, 12 could be deferred, so we don't spend time and money dealing with that issue in the short term. So
Okay.
those two would make, it would make sense to go 11, 18, 15, then 12. I think that's what was being said in
Yep.
terms of time efficiency and cost management of the council.
So, who's proposing this? Will, you're proposing that? Okay.
I'll second it insofar as it's needed.
Okay. So, all those in favour of making those changes? All those against? Thank you.
So, Councillor Moore, did you vote in favour or against them?
In favour.
In favour.
Okay, let me, so when we get to 11, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 is minutes. So to approve the minutes of the following meetings. So first is the full council meeting on the 15th of June, and they were circulated to all members, I believe. Does anyone have anything or any inaccuracies that they wish to correct?
Well, I'd like to say something about representation from the public. It says, as these items were subsequently not considered by the council, the related public comments have not been recorded in the minutes. And I would say that not recording public comments on items not considered further by the PC at the meeting may be procedurally correct, but shows a lack of respect for those who make the time and effort to make comments, and also shows a lack of transparency. And I don't think this is a good look for the PC in any way whatsoever. I think if people bother to come here and make a comment, it should be recorded. The other item is item 15. And if you have a look at item 15, which is the financial reports, it says here, due to concerns raised by a councillor at the meeting, the monthly financial reports were not considered. And from my memory, I don't think that's correct. I think we did consider them and we just chose not to approve them.
Okay.
I completely agree with what Councillor Parrott said. I think we should be recording what parishioners say, so that they know that their voices are being recorded and heard. And my recollection was also that we went through them, and there was one item that we didn't approve because we didn't have the supporting information. So I don't know if those amendments can be made.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit too much to make physically now, so I guess we could defer them till the next meeting. I didn't think there was a vote on item 15, but councillors may have other recollections.
I recall we voted on individual items, didn't we?
There was one that we didn't.
And it was just the one that you wanted to see. Have you seen the letter of engagement?
That was the schedule of payments, yeah. This is the other monthly sign-off of the reports were not considered by council.
And you certainly considered them because I made comments on them.
I did, yes. So I put there that you did raise concerns.
So I guess either they were considered or they weren't. And
It's
I
still
don't.
wrong to say that they were considered when they were considered.
Well, the monthly financial report depends whether that refers to something that we didn't consider or we did consider.
I think we did consider it because you went through it quite.
Well, I know yes,
We
but
went
is that
through
the
both of
monthly
them.
report? Or would that be
On the monthly report as well, I raised issues.
That was the one
Yeah.
when we did the costings because you
Right.
picked up points on that one.
Okay. So if we considered it, then I think we should say that we considered it, but one item.
There'd be a resolution
Was-
that it was not approved, rather than...
Right, that's fine.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Make that change.
The other thing I'd say generally is on the website there's lots of minutes that are still there saying they're draft and actually they have been approved.
Okay.
I think it would be good if that could be corrected.
Fine. So we. Well, I propose that we don't sign these tonight. Do I have a seconder? So all those in favour of not approving these minutes? Thank you. Minutes of the extraordinary meeting on 7th of May 2026. So I believe there were some changes that had been made. Does anyone have any comments on these? No? So I propose that we agree these minutes. Do I have a seconder? All those in favour of approving the minutes? Thank you. Number 4 is Chairman's report. I don't have a report this month or at this meeting. Number 5 is Surrey County Council report. As I said, we don't have our Surrey County Council representative here tonight. Number 6 is the Guildford Borough Council report, and again, Sally Barker is unable to make it today. Item number 7 is representations from the public. So I'll just say that our public participation session, members of the public are able to express a view or ask a question on relevant matters on the agenda, and are welcome to stay and observe the rest of the meeting, but may not speak or interrupt the meeting following the public participation session. Each speaker to have a maximum of 3 minutes to address the council. In line with Standing Order 3H, please note that any questions raised during public participation do not necessarily require a response at the meeting and will not prompt a debate. A response may be given in writing or orally at a later date as appropriate. All questions or comments should be addressed through the chair, and only one person may speak at a time. And I'd be grateful if you can raise your hand to indicate if you wish to speak. So I'll open it up to the public. So, Bridget, with you.
Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I really want to, I think, probably looking around the room from my memory, everybody was at the March meeting when I said that Hampton Estate, to speak on behalf of Hampton Estate, that we were happy to see if we could try and find help with finding a solution to the problem in Wood Lane, because personally I was very concerned, or as a family we're very concerned about the upset of the village as well as its potential waste of money. So I just wanted, following that meeting, which was in March, I sent a copy of what I said to the clerk, so it's all down record. And I just really wanted to reiterate, we still are of the same view. We would like, if we can help by managing, looking after that tiniest piece of land in front of the land we own, and that brings a resolution and a help to the village. Honestly, I mean, we've lived as a family in the village for long enough, and it matters deeply to us that such unhappiness shouldn't exist for something that really doesn't warrant it. The parish council should be concentrating and could concentrate on things that are positive, which would be a great relief. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bridget. Yes. Thanks. Oh, Jutta did have her hand up before. Well, Jutta.
Thank you. Bridget, that was what I was going to mention again in under item 12 regarding the council-owned land in Wood Lane. First of all, I would like to ask that an article is prepared for the Village News for the September edition, explaining correctly that the Wood Lane community should not be blamed for the legal costs, which in truth arose as a result of the clerk and the chairman failing to respond to a traditional review letter. There would have been no legal costs if the letter had been responded in due time. And with AI, I looked it up, it wasn't that difficult to understand. I do not know where the rumour started, but there is a rumour going around that Wood Laners are to be blamed for the high increase in our precinct. I therefore ask that this matter is corrected, not just on the parish website, but in the Village News, as the article in July, in the July issue on page 42 was misleading. With the Wood Lane land being continuously on the agenda and clearly a problem for some, I strongly suggest that the councillors revisit the offer made by the Hampton Estate back in March. I speak not only on behalf of Wood Lane residents, but many others across the parish. It's time to move on and forget about, again, thinking in a few months' time to sell the land or to make changes. I also wanted to refer to item, I think 11. I welcome Councillor Walden's suggestion that the clerk produces a monthly worksheet. It will give us all the assurance that our money is spent on wisely, especially as, many of us have never ever had a reply to our questions, and I know there are still outstanding matters that haven't been answered to. So I think to see what the clerk is spending his time on would be very useful. Also, when it comes to you discussing further work or giving him more workload, I understand that review is coming up, so maybe you should now exactly work out what is possible for a part-time parish clerk to be able to achieve and what the priorities should be. I noticed that some of the minutes that have been approved are still in draft form, even though it was brought up a month ago. And I think these are the issues where obviously the clerk is somewhere overloaded, and we need to know exactly, and you need to know exactly, how we can use best of the clerk's time.
Thank you, Jutta. I'd just say that you said it was partly my responsibility to respond to the letter of claim, and I don't believe it is. It's the letter of claim went to the council, which is the corporate body, and not to point fingers, but I'm afraid that rests with the clerk and no members. So to make that clear. The questions not being answered to the clerk, I would say, so the clerk can obviously answer those questions that are based on council policy and what the council already has on its books. So it would be, the clerk would be unable to answer perhaps some questions that you have. In those cases, I would suggest that you speak to one of the council members about those questions, because it may be that those questions need to be asked via a motion so that the council can actually come to a considered answer to those. So I'd still hope that the clerk is giving some response, and whether or not, and it may be that Ryan needs to, on questions that he can't answer, pass them back to the members to say, will one of you raise a motion on this so that we can answer these queries? Because I'm sure there are some that sit in this middle ground that can't be answered by the clerk in that manner.
Sorry, can I just say to this, when the clerk writes to us saying that your question has been passed on to the chairman, what are we meant to do after that?
I was just looking up your correspondence from May, which was in regards to a comment that you had about a meeting. I've not had anything since from then from you.
I wrote to you because the extraordinary meeting, the minutes were incorrect, and you said it'd been passed on to the chairman, and then in the evening those minutes, even though they were incorrect, were brought forward for approval. I mean,
No, it's because it's not up to myself to make the change.
No, I didn't say that, but you said it passed on to the chairman, but then it still comes out as an incorrect reading.
It's not up to us to make changes.
Yeah, I don't recall specifically what that was, Jutta.
I can tell you.
I know, but it's not something that we should debate now.
No, but I asked the question, how should we proceed? If we are you said we should send everything to the clerk, so we do, and then what should we do after that, when we hear that it has been passed on to the chair? Will it then be followed up by whoever should be helping us with the answer, or where does it go?
You attended the meeting that the minutes were being reviewed at, so that was the outcome from your question.
So a question that was raised in November and repeatedly asked has still not been answered.
No, because I haven't been given permission from the council to look into these matters, which I was hoping to do at the last meeting.
I don't quite understand how that can work.
There were some motions on the last meeting agenda that weren't heard.
I'm talking about a question raised in November.
Yes, but what Ryan said
I
was
wasn't
that...
even here at the start.
No, but it was repeated every month, this question.
Yes, and I don't know the answer to it, and I was trying to give myself some authority so I could look into matters on my own, on my behalf,
So,
and that hasn't happened yet.
so you didn't pass it on to the chairman?
No, it's not because it wasn't to do with the chairman.
Sorry?
It wasn't. I'm not talking about somebody else's correspondence when I don't have an answer for it at the moment. When I do have an answer, I'll let them know.
And I think the principle here is that there's a lot of non-response time.
The last time I had correspondence from Jutta, I emailed her back
Hey,
on the same day,
calm it down, Jess.
and I've not had any correspondence since then.
No, let me handle it. Yeah, I think we're allowed robust debate, and I think I would like to get to the bottom of correspondence. Questions should be answered, but I am suggesting that the clerk cannot answer all questions, and I think Ryan has just said that there are some questions he needs extra authority to do. Now, admittedly, from November, Ryan only started in December. But you're right, these things do need looking at and improving upon.
And the question's a legal one. It's not something that the councillors will have an answer to as well.
No, but using the car park at Seale Recreation Ground
That's
for
not-
weddings,
it's
that's
not-
not a legal issue.
Right, thank you,
And that
councillor.
took ages to respond to.
Okay.
Well, I only asked
Anybody else?
what we should do after we send our email to the clerk, because I assume that it then goes to the chairman, and the chairman will circulate it to the other councillors, and it will be somehow responded with or sorted or dealt with. Now it looks to me as if we could get stuck sending something to the clerk and it doesn't go further.
No, just to make crystal clear, a chairman doesn't distribute or circulate anything that comes through the clerk. It would be up to the clerk to distribute it and circulate it to who the clerk feels is appropriate to deal with it.
Which in that instance was the chairman of the council.
Yeah. So I'd have to look at what that correspondence was. Off the top of my head, you're told I wouldn't know. But thank you for that. I'm just going to go.
Can I just make a brief point on that, just
Yes.
as a suggestion that maybe somebody from the council maybe should sit down with yourself and just talk about the intricacies of maybe how inquiry will be managed in a motion, within a meeting, or within a correction, or whether the clerk has got the power to manage it themselves. I think there's a lot of different ways these different inquiries can go, and there is now set policies in place. So I think it's only going to maybe only take 10 or 15 minutes outside this meeting to do that, and that would really help things out. Maybe if you don't mind me saying.
Yeah, just to clarify the procedure.
Yeah. Well, on 2 points, we do have the correspondence policy for renewal, and I would say, Jutta, I can't remember at which meeting it was. Only 1 or 2 or 3 ago, I did offer you that we get together and we can go through these things. And as yet, I haven't heard anything from you to take up that offer. But we can talk about it. I don't have all the answers, but I know that we can try to work out how best we can answer these questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Will, I think you were next.
As a resident, there are a couple of things I'd like to say. Item 12 seems to go against the spirit of Standing Order 7B, which states that when a decision has been reversed, as the decision to sell the land was, a similar motion should not be moved for a further 6 months. Whilst I'm sure you could argue that the new motion is different, I can assure you that for those likely to be impacted, it feels like we are simply starting the same process again. It feels very similar. It would be good if the PC could respect the 83% of the village who voted to retain the land and remove disposal as an option. Additionally, it seems unwise for PC to be considering items such as this, which will incur more cost, what is budgeted for, will use up the clerk's valuable time, when there are so many other issues such as finance, recreation ground bookings, playgrounds and equipment that are requiring attention. Item 15 seems an eminently sensible way to address. The offer made by Bridget could maintain the status quo, which most people seem happy to live with, and would not have an ongoing cost to the PC. Item 17, and this looks like a motion raised, yes, by other councillors, and it's actually been raised by the clerk. As was discussed last time, I don't believe the clerk should be raising motions. That is the job of councillors. My understanding is as follows. Reports on routine, operational, legal, financial or emergency matters can be written by the clerk and presented at the meeting by the clerk. These can then be proposed, seconded and discussed by councillors in a meeting. Councillors can then approve with or without changes or not approve as they think fit. Anything else such as discretionary or strategic work requires a council instruction following a motion raised by a councillor before the clerk can prepare a report. Hence, for the clerk to raise a motion regarding Wood Lane at our meeting last month is not appropriate. The clerk must be seen to be neutral and must be neutral. This is one reason why the clerk should not be raising strategic type motions in this way.
It's about managing council land.
Thank you, Will. Well, one thing I'd just say about item 17, I think we've previously resolved as a council to undertake these works.
And that's exactly what I'll say when we get to item 17.
So what's the problem?
No, so what I was going to say was we've previously resolved to undertake works, and it was for the clerk to find quotes.
It should be shown as a report, not shown in the same way as other motions. It looks exactly like a motion, yes, as compiled by other councillors. And the clerk should prepare reports. We can take it as a report, it's fine, I'm perfectly happy with that.
You're not perfectly happy though, are you?
Well,
It's a procedural comment.
we would like everyone to be as happy as we can be, wouldn't we? I do believe it. As I say, it's already been resolved that we will do the works, and it was for the clerk to find out quotes and the like.
Exactly.
So I think
What's being brought forward as item 17, it looks like a motion, it should just be a report, and then it's fine. And you can vote on it. I'm perfectly happy.
okay. It does say under the delegated authority. I mean, should we ask Ryan to just add report onto the end of the title? That would help. Okay. Well, we can make an amendment when we get to that item if you wish. Yeah. Okay. We'll just turn the lights on, I think. So Lynn was just in front of you. Lynn?
I'd just like to make a statement with regard to item 12, which I think the timing of item 12 is extremely unwise, given the fact that the PC should be currently trying to build bridges with those in the community to oppose the decision that was made to dispose of the land of the Lane. I felt strongly enough about it to launch a JR, which the PC chose not to defend. It concerns me that the clerk needs to be authorised to identify the legal governance, valuation, access, covenant and land status advice that may be required. Surely this information should have been gathered prior to the previous attempt to dispose of the land. If it was not, then I'd like to know why it wasn't. It appears to me that the previous attempt to dispose of the land was carried out without appropriate due diligence. So before launching any new contentious project, I think there should be an investigation into what happened previously, and those responsible for errors should be held to account. We don't want the PC continuing to divide the community and making more costly mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I can only say that obviously we had a previous clerk oversee the last motion on that land, and I know that she prepared documents that were suggested to members to fulfil all those requirements. That's all I can say. And you're right, I don't think anyone would like to see the council be subject to a judicial review again, all those costs involved. So I'm sure that anything that's done with the land will be, those requirements will be fulfilled. Mick.
Yeah, previously I joined as council probably about 10 years ago under Councillor Nelson. At that time, Councillor Butcher was liaising with Farnborough Airport Group. Councillor Brown was liaising on the planning applications. The late Councillor Alan Jones was liaising with the Runfold Sandpit Group. And I myself was put forward to get outdoor sports equipment, which Councillor Nelson did, and then I got involved with assets of community value, which I got for the Barley Mow and the Seale Sands Parish Legion. These probably need reviewing now. My point is that after all the constant issues, including land of Wood Lane, obviously, which has cost the parish council time, money, etc., the majority of the parish wish to move on and would happily this issue, would like to move on this issue, and would happily, my question, is to our new councillors: what are you bringing to the council? What other than negativity are you bringing to the parish council? Because the parish council is not a county council, it's not parliament, it's a parish council, and you bring something to it which is for the benefit of the parish, not a small patch of Wood Lane, which is very nice, and I appreciate you've got a lot of interest in it, but there's a bigger parish and there's more. So what are you bringing to it? That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Thank you. Right, well, I think we've spent long enough on representation, so one last one, Nicola.
Yeah, mine's on 16 and 15. I have absolutely, I think it's wonderful what you say, Bridget, about your offer to help the parish council with the land at Wood Lane, but some of the covenants, I think you might have to be considerate to the fact that the land would still need to be open. I think you're just offering to manage it, and it wouldn't come under any business. So if the land was to be farmed,
that possibly would come under a business heading, because Hampstead Estate is a business. So I just wanted to make those 2 points. So whether it's just a pure management of the land and it doesn't cross over into the business of Hamptons itself, and whether the land would still be open because it needs to be open. And they're the covenants, and I think the covenants can change, I'm not sure. With regards to the insurance cover, I do sense discord within the parish council, as Mike has just reiterated, and I haven't spoken to Mike at all before this meeting, but I do witness discord within the parish council, and I would like to maybe ask the new parish councillors whether they do foresee another judicial review because of the insurance investigations into getting that kind of cover. Is there another one around the corner with regards to the discord that is very evident within the parish council?
Can I just help respond on that one, Jason?
Yeah, it would be great if Anne could.
Right, so in terms of the insurance cover, we don't have cover for the parish council at all. So accidents, if somebody had an accident and sued the parish council's not insured. So I'm looking more at sort of third-party risks and all the rest of it, and there's some quite big exclusions in there. So it's not really the JR, that was just crystallised the issue. We're insured as officers individually, but the parish council's not insured.
I think you've put there to assess the risk of another judicial review.
But judicial review, a claim, it's generally that the PC...
Do you think there will be another judicial review?
I can't see one, but I'm more thinking about third-party claims that we don't have cover for the council, and it's because obviously if something happens and you sue a third party.
Yeah, it's just very clear in your.
I was using
letter
that
you mentioned Will's name and you mentioned the judicial
right.
review.
So because that came out last time, that the reason we didn't have it was said, absolutely said, that the reason we didn't have cover is because a member of the council had commenced the claim. And so I was using that as an example to say, actually, if you look at the cover that we've got, it doesn't matter if it's Will, it wouldn't matter if you'd sued us, or anybody in the room had sued us. We don't have that cover in place. And as I say, it could be something to do with the play equipment, it could be anything like that that we as a parish council are responsible for. I just think we ought to look at that more broadly. So no, I don't see a claim. This isn't about discord, this isn't about a claim coming down the line. This is me, frankly, as an insurance lawyer going, hold on a minute, I'm not sure that's as cleverly in place as it should be. Now, it might be that when we go out and look in the market, that's just the policies that are available. But I just think because the JR's thrown it up as an issue, I just think it's sensible that we look at it. We're insured with Hiscox, terribly expensive. But we've got Gallagher as a broker. So, having dealt with both of them professionally, I think we should just look at the cover that's out there to make sure that if something comes down the line, it's not all us as parishioners paying for it. We go after our nice insurance policy because that's what insurance premiums are for. So that's all. We try to make sure that money isn't spent rather than anything coming over the horizon. So it's actually, perversely, it's because I want us to be together and all be protected. It's not because I see discord and harmony. It's just about good governance and good management. That's why I've raised it.
Good. Just to clarify, the point about saying saying that we weren't covered because it was a councillor bringing
Which
the JR.
came from the broker.
Came from the broker.
Me. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I just want everyone to be clear.
No. It came from the broker,
Yes.
and the broker was. I've no doubt just using shorthand, but for no all respect, Jason, to a non-insurer person, it wasn't a helpful description of the cover that's there. So I think the broker wasn't very helpful.
Clearly, because it's caused rift.
And that's why I
And
just think
as I
we
say,
can try and resolve it.
I think all councillors, all members have to act upon the information that they have, and that's what was done in that case.
Exactly, but I just think if we can make sure that that's all put to rest, and if we can make sure that, heaven forbid anything happens, heaven forbid anybody has an accident, but it's all under 17.
Well, let's discuss that in a minute then.
I just thought it was just useful to respond.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you. Okay, so I think we drifted into parish matters there. So this is a standing item on the agenda now to receive any other sort of matters raised by residents relating to issues within the parish council's remit and not otherwise included on the agenda. This item is for information sharing only and no decisions may be taken. The item shall be limited to 15 minutes in total, with each speaker limited to 3 minutes. So is there anything else that residents would like to say with various concerns around the parish? So, Lynn?
I've got two things. One, Ryan's addressed that my complaint of the 21st November hasn't been answered. I'm interested to hear from Nicola. She states the land has to be open, which is what my question is about, because we don't seem to know and nobody's answered that yet.
Okay.
Okay, that's my first question. And my second one is, please could the landowners of the land adjacent, which the parish council is one of them with the wreck, the footpath running along Seale Lane needs trimmed off because people are walking along the road and running along the road rather than using the footpath because it's dangerous with all the brambles and spikes coming out.
At Seale Wreck on the main path. Yeah.
Footpath between Elstead Road and Quarry House.
Oh, I see that one.
So people are walking on Seale Lane rather than using the footpath.
Okay. I think the issue with your complaint, I think that would come under some of what Ryan is seeking to look at from a legal aspect. I think it's very much a legal question that you're asking.
I'm just surprised that the parish council didn't know the answer before going ahead with the last answer.
Okay, thank you. There was somebody else who... Oh,
Me.
well, I think for the residents, really, it's residents forum.
Yeah, I just want to, on a positive note, although I do understand there is some fractions amongst the parish council, but it was lovely to see everybody on the 4th of July at the Seale Sands show, together, putting their differences aside. Big hats off to the Seale Sands show committee for putting off another wonderful event. The weather was great. I love the I Love Seale Sands badges that were handed out. It was nice to see the parish council operating together as a team. Long may that continue, and your public engagement continue in a physical way rather than just a verbal and email way. And one last thing, I'm very interested to know how much that would have cost the parish council to do something like that. I know it's very small. I'm not looking for any dirt in that question. I just wanted to understand, so everyone can understand it's very small fry to engage with your community these days. And also, I'd like to understand a slightly different question. Data was taken in accordance with a competition that you guys did. Again, great way to engage with the community. Just want to understand how you're storing that data and using it in the future.
Okay. Well, I wasn't a part of... Yeah, yeah.
The stand wasn't a parish council stand.
No, I take all back then.
It was a decision that Will, Anna and I made to try and mend some of the fences as councillors with the parish. We felt that it was, there was a lack of response to an official parish council stand being held, but we felt it was important to do something at the show, and there were no costs incurred to the parish council. The cost of the stands was shared between myself, Councillor Laney and Councillor Parrott, even though our chairman did participate. He has decided that he wouldn't participate in the costs, but the costs were fairly minimal. So, in answer to your question, thank you very much for your comments about it. I'm glad that I Love Seale Sands went down well.
So one more comment then, just on that information. That aptly demonstrates maybe why there are issues with the parish council. Great idea, well engaged, well executed. Why didn't you speak to the other councillors about it and make that decision together as one entity?
I did.
We tried.
We tried.
All right, thank you.
And in terms of GDPR, all the information was shredded and confidentially disposed of.
And maybe that's one thing that we were trying to add,
What, sorry, we're trying to add?
doing something at the parents for the summer show,
Yeah, that's right.
the new councillors.
I think there was no motion brought to council about attending the show.
Yeah.
So because it wasn't discussed at council, we couldn't decide as a council what council would do. Because that didn't happen, it was suggested early when the summer show committee said that they would give over a stand to the parish council, that was circulated, and then because it wasn't discussed at council, members could do with that as they wished. I think the course of events are slightly different, and my understanding, but that was ultimately what happened on the stand.
Well, it was a good idea.
Yeah. Yes, it's a shame that it wasn't brought to council and we couldn't have decided what to do
How
from the
can it
outset.
be brought to council?
A member needs to bring it to the council.
Okay.
So Councillor Walden had received, I believe, communication from the summer show committee, and that would have been.
That was, sorry, just for clarity, that was actually later. The invitation was sent by me, I think in early May, suggesting that the parish council have a stand. My understanding is,
Oh, yes, beg your pardon. You sent it to Ryan, didn't you?
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Beg your pardon. Yes. Yeah. So it was up for members to bring it to the council as a motion if they felt that that's what they wanted to do.
But to be fair, it was circulated by email, and we didn't realise, and it may be our ignorance as new parish councillors, that we needed a motion to have a stand. And therefore, it was only afterwards that you said you didn't bring a motion forward. When that email came in and Jan sent an email saying, I think this is a brilliant idea, Will and I responded saying, we think it's a brilliant idea.
Will didn't respond, no.
At that point, you didn't say, if that's great, we'll need a motion.
Yeah,
If you'd have just said, great,
at the
put
night
a motion,
of
we're done.
Let's
I'm
not
not,
make it positive and negative, but next time we know what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
It
saying.
is not for me to suggest it needs a motion. Individual members can do that on their own.
No, I don't need to say it, so I think you should have said to me that you need to present this
No,
as a motion.
I don't think that's fair.
I think it is.
No.
We chose to make that comment at the night of the next meeting when it was too late to present the motion. So you obviously weren't interested.
No, that wasn't. No, I think you're trying to put words into my mouth that aren't there. That was not the case at all. I realised after the meeting that it hadn't been brought to the meeting. Hence why there are various things that haven't been brought to this meeting, because I wasn't aware until we had the agenda. So thank you, Andrew. We shall remain positive. So number 9, play area repairs. So this is to approve quotations that Ryan has received from Wicksteed for playground equipment repairs for a total cost of £881.78p. So I'll table an amendment, and I propose that we change the title of this piece from Play Area Repairs to Play Area Repairs Report. So do I have a seconder?
Before we vote on this, I'm slightly concerned because I asked Ryan a little bit more about this.
No.
And the last inspection report we had was dated the 11th of July 25. And as far as I'm concerned, we should be having these every year.
We're not voting on that now. We're voting on the amendment. So I just had if we just let's go through the process. If we have a seconder by
I'll second
Ian.
it.
So all those in favour of amending and approving? Thank you. So, Will, yes.
As I said, the thing that I have a worry about is the latest annual inspection report, as far as I'm aware, is dated the 11th of July 2025, and these should be done annually, and so we're out of date. Presumably the work that we've had quotes for it relates to what was on that report.
Yep.
Surely the best thing to do would be to get a new report, and then act on that swiftly and get any repairs done. Because my fear is we could pay for these repairs here, and then the new report comes in and says actually that piece of kit is now dead, and we just spent some money trying to repair it, and it's wasted money. And so I would say perhaps we should get a new report done, and then make sure we action whatever comes out of that very, very quickly, as opposed to leave it almost a year, which seems to have happened here.
Okay. I'm not sure what these repairs actually refer to. Do we have a quote from them?
Yeah, it does say.
Yeah, it's 2 quotes.
There's 2 quotes, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have them?
Yes.
Oh, because I haven't seen them.
Yeah, they were received quite a while ago. I can't remember the exact date.
Are they still valid?
Yeah,
They are valid till the end of the month.
They're updated.
And do they relate to the 25 report?
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of them is, my question is, one of them is for the supply of parts only, so does that, the other one, which includes the fitment of items,
So they're the same,
does that cover
the same
the fitment of all
quotations that
items?
the council considered in October or November last year. Council resolved to obtain further quotations rather than accepting them at that time, which I did. But as the other companies have said, because the parts were through Wicksteed, they were never beaten on price, so they've been brought back for councillor to review now. Both have been updated in the last month, 6 weeks.
Yeah. But as I say, the one question I had is whether the WLLQ 19453 is for the supply of parts only. So
You said you were going to get that looked at for the fitting as well, didn't you?
it's whether the O2
Yeah, that was for both. wasn't it?
542 covers both supply and install. Whether that covers the 543 install or not, but we need to clarify that.
So are we comparing eggs and eggs?
Therefore, it's the supply of different items.
Right.
There's a list of items in one quote with the supply and install. There's another list, different list of items for the supply, but there's nothing mentioned about install.
Yeah, clean up eggs and eggs.
Have we arranged for a new inspection yet?
If Wicksteed did the last inspection, so if councillors were to approve these works, then I could ask them to do it.
The only thing
around the
I've,
same time.
just from previous experience with a rec as a parish council, Wicksteed quotes always came in higher because they're supplying the equipment and it's in their interest to find fault, which is why we went over to ROSPA the Royal Society of Prevention of Accidents, doing the inspections, because they were much more even-handed and also tended to look not just at the equipment but the play area itself. So access to, getting in, things that might be risks to children that you wouldn't think about, and therefore it was much more holistic.
Greater impartiality as
Yeah,
well.
and it was impartial because they didn't have a financial interest in the outcome, but they did look at wider things, sort of like picking up on the fencing, where the fencing was a bit wobbly, which Wicksteed never looked at because it's not their equipment. So we found that ROSPA gave us a better review, and also ROSPA do discounted inspections on months as they travel around the country, and I think theirs is July and August. But it was just that they were more impartial, but they looked at a wider area, so we found 2 benefits.
So, who's we?
When I was at my previous parish council,
Oh, sorry.
so we just, it was because they were impartial and they looked at the wider surrounding.
Do ROSPA do them themselves? They don't subcontract it to a...
To Wicksteed.
No,
For example.
it's a ROSPA inspector.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I've said for many years, and I don't know why, it was since when Margaret was handling them, that we seem to have Wicksteed, and I never saw the reasoning why. We need an independent person, such like our internal auditor is never really truly independent. But that was out of my control. So I'm with you. We need an independent inspection. The couple of things on your point, Will, was I do remember us talking about what Steve, and I think I alluded to it in my emails to you, was that we agreed that with discussions with Steve, our maintenance chap, that he could undertake certain repairs, and those that he couldn't would be dealt with by Wicksteed or whoever we got to do the work. But I'm not sure if there was ever enough liaison with Steve to work out actually what he could do. So if that list of parts is for bearings and the like, then it's quite possible that he won't be able to cope with that.
So I can't remember the exact.
Yeah.
But if,
So
yeah.
we need to.
If you got the ROSPA report, you could then have a Steve list and a not Steve list.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I'm concerned that we don't get some of these repairs done. There's been a lot that has been out of action because it hasn't progressed. But whether the thing is, we'll get another report. I don't want to spend money for the sake. Well, none of us want to spend money for the sake of it. But if we get a report, that will probably take perhaps 2 months.
Well, ROSPA are inspecting in Surrey at the moment.
Depends how fast, how
Yeah,
quick
so
they're turning around.
if we could, because I think you could class this as an emergency action because it's the safety of the wreck. If we could authorise or agree to authorise the clerk to get in touch with ROSPA this week and see if they can do an inspection or when they can do an inspection, and then maybe we could even deal with, progressing that as an EGM item, because obviously we don't have a meeting in August because it's the summer. But I'm sure we could all get together if needs be and just have a quick discussion about what needs to be doing. Ideally with Steve in the room, so Steve can say, I can do that, I absolutely can't do that. And then we could move things forward quicker, but as you rightly say, not wasting money. Taking up Will's point about fixing stuff that's or trying to fix stuff that's unfixable.
You have delegated authority to arrange inspections anyway, don't you?
Yeah, it's already agreed with the budget.
Yeah, so we don't have to agree that.
Okay.
I think then this is a report that's been brought to authorise or not the costs. So if we're saying that we don't want to go ahead, then we don't authorise them. So I can't see any middle ground on this particular report. No. So I think on that basis then, if we ask Ryan to initiate obtaining a report from an independent person, and then we can act on that as quick as we can.
I mean, in terms of independence, I'd suggest that we agree ROSPA rather than waste.
They're a private company, though, aren't they?
Sorry?
They're a private company, the one you sent through an email.
Well, they're a Royal Society, so they're a charitable institution. So
I think from a financial regulation point of view, it depends whether it accords with the financial rates. Okay, so
Could say it's an emergency, which we can act quicker, can't we? Maybe.
well, Steve would deal with any emergency situations that arise.
I think the problem is we don't know what an emergency situation is because we're not an independent.
Well, exactly, but until we get the report, we don't know. So I propose then that we vote on the matter now. So do we have a seconder? Will? So all those in favour of approving that we spend £881.78 with Wicksteed now, all those in favour? All those against? Okay, thank you very much. So item 10 is compliance report, further actions. So to consider a proposal from Councillor Parrott that the compliance report previously agreed by the Council be provided as a written document with the agenda papers for each full Council meeting. Do I have a proposer? Well, a seconder? Anna? Okay, well, would you like to talk about this?
I believe this is necessary because then we've got documentary evidence that we've taken complaints and freedom of information requests seriously. And also, I think it would be useful for anyone hanging on for a reply to a freedom of information request or a complaint to at least know the status and not just be sitting there thinking, I don't know what's happening. And hence, I think it should be something that we should produce. And I think some of these organisations, like the Information Commission, would probably expect you to have a log of freedom of information requests and what you've done with them and how they've been handled. And so I think it's both probably necessary and also good practice. As I said earlier, I would hope that we would get down to no complaints and no freedom of information requests. That's where I'd like to get to, in which case it would become a pretty simple report.
I know that we do have FOI request reports on the website from a year or so ago.
We need to know what's come in, has it been actioned, when was it ticked off?
I mean these were specific to those FOI requests, so we were reporting them then. So I think they should be. I think it should be reported on what has been requested and what the outcome was. Okay. Anyone else like to talk?
I think it's good for transparency, and it's, everyone's been saying, showing that we're all working together and taking everyone's concerns seriously. I think it's just healthy governance.
Am I right? You do put in the minutes now what the status is, don't you?
The last meeting.
Yeah. So it has, from a transparency point of view, since requesting.
But I think this is seeking more, isn't it? Because it's more detail, and I think that's what would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm just saying that we all since Will brought the motion back in March, I think that they have been reported in the minutes. Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay.
No, do we need to consider what topics are included in this? Or, rather than leave it to Ryan to have to invent?
No, I think that was already
I think it's in there.
For every freedom of information request, formal complaint, what needs to be logged.
So we're content that that's all we need to put in, is it?
It's a good starter for 10, and if we get it and think that we're missing something, we can always raise a motion to amend it, can't we?
Yeah.
We don't want to overburden Ryan.
No.
Some form of RAG status would be useful as well.
That's a good idea.
What status, sorry?
RAG status, red, amber, green, with some criteria for each.
Yeah.
It just draws people's eyes to something that
is
relevant to all.
Is this still item 10?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought that would have been maybe 11, but yeah, because this was just around complaints and freedom of information requests.
But I think Councillor Brown's point is received, actioned, or unable to action when people know where they stand. And
If they're green, they're done, or they're white, they're done, whichever. Green, they're in time frame, amber, they're getting close to, or whatever. And red, they're over.
Okay.
So people don't have to read all the way through it and then find that they're all green.
Well, it does say a current status, so a clear indicator of progress. Yeah. So the recommendation, that this council notes the resolution passed at the March meeting mandating a regular compliance report for FOI requests and formal complaints. So everyone has this, and hopefully members of the public can see it as well. So if there's a clear current status, as you're suggesting, then that's fine. So should we move to a vote? So all those in favour of approving the compliance report? Thank you. Okay, item 11. So this is the detailed monthly clerk's report. To consider a proposal from Councillor de Walden that the clerk produce a monthly written report providing full details of activities undertaken, relevant public contacts, actions taken and outstanding matters, with the principal headings included on the published meeting agenda. So do I have a proposer for this? Seconder? Okay. Jan, would you like to say anything?
And we agree that we're going into item 18 afterwards.
Yes.
So I'd like to roll the two in together.
We're going to consider each motion on its own.
Separate.
I have to, yes.
But it is coming
Next.
Yes.
afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, in discussion that we've had tonight, it was felt as a council that we would benefit from having a more detailed report from the clerk of his activities in the previous month, which would include details of contacts with the public, actions taken and actions outstanding from those contacts. And I felt that the idea of putting the headings from that report into the agenda items would then allow greater choice for parishioners whether they want to attend that meeting or not, to see the items of relevance that are coming up, and make a considered decision on the attendance. I think most importantly it would ensure that public contacts to the clerk are A, recorded and B, actioned in good time, and certainly within the 5 days as had been previously agreed. So I think it would be a general improvement in information coming to the parish, and as I say, giving you better choice of whether you want to attend the meetings or not.
Okay. Just before I invite other members to speak, I would propose an amendment to this item. So it's that currently the recommendations for the resolutions talk about a monthly report, but obviously we don't meet monthly. So I think we just need to change that to a per meeting report. So there's two resolutions that include monthly. So if we can, for clarity, just change it to per meeting. So I propose that. Do I have a seconder? Will, thank you. All those in favour of making that amendment? Thank you. That's it, one. So over to other members for any comments.
I think it's the same point as with the freedom of information. It's about clarity and transparency and good governance. I think it's an excellent suggestion.
Yes, I think it's good for us, and it's also very good for the public, because they will see what's actually been going on. Because I think very often there are things going on behind the scenes that some councillors who aren't involved in that area don't get to see, and the public certainly don't get to see. And if it's there within it, because all the things like getting quotes and getting quotes renewed all takes time, doesn't it?
It does, and we're going to take away Ryan's time by producing reports after reports.
Yeah, I can see that.
We're not achieving what we could be achieving with his limited time. We just seem to be in danger of spending excessive time producing reports, and we're governing ourselves to death, as has happened many times in large corporations, and we're not a large corporation, we're just a small parish council. I understand governance has got to happen, and I understand clarity and openness and everything else, but I do feel that we are going to report ourselves into the ground.
I think it could certainly be quite brief.
But you're almost asking Ryan to justify his timesheets every hour.
I don't think we want to go that far.
It says no. Full details of activities undertaken. That's the wording that's been used.
So, I remember we used to have reports from Margaret that said how many emails were received, how many letters were received, how many emails were responded to. And to be honest, it was quite pointless. Unless you're going to go into full detail. And I hesitate myself with how much time that will take, because and I've written here, how long is it going to produce these reports? Because Ryan has 10 hours a week, and to me I would think that, well, I don't want to put words in Ryan's mouth about how long it will take, but it will take time to do that. I'm all for transparency, I don't have an issue with that. I would say as well, Jan, you said within the 5 days as previously agreed, but what was that referring to?
Responding to correspondence policy.
Public questions.
The previous correspondence policy didn't mention a time frame.
We agreed somewhere.
We agreed 5 days last
5
time.
days.
Well, the new correspondence policy has been updated to say 3 days and then 7 days.
So I've been generous.
Yeah,
But
so, okay. So I just wondered where it was coming from. That was all. Yeah. So yeah, so it is kind of linked to obviously the correspondence policy.
I think if you listen to the room, a lot of the feedback from our parishioners is that they don't feel that requests and emails are being responded to. I absolutely hear what Councillor Brown says about managing ourselves into a whole. But maybe a compromise would be, why don't we trial this for 3 months or 3 meetings, and then we review it to see whether we think it's giving us any benefit. Just have it a trial period to see whether it's the parishioners think it's helping them and we think it's helping them. We'll take it up to Christmas. I'm just thinking that it may be hopeless, it may actually be really useful, we don't know, so why not give it a trial period? And that also in that trial period, Brian could take a note of how long he's spending producing the report. And then we've got all the information, say, actually, do you know what, this isn't benefiting us in the way it could do. But if it is giving us benefits, and if the parishioners are finding that it's useful information, then there's a balancing act to be done. But without starting it, we don't know whether it's good or whether it's bad. So I would suggest that maybe we amend this to have a 3 meeting, I was thinking 3 meetings just because we've got August coming up as a break. But if we did it, say, for September, October, November, and then revisit it at the December meeting to see whether we think we're getting benefit out of it.
Mid-December meeting.
December we'll be into, November we'll be into budget. I mean, if you... It depends when you want Ryan to start doing it then, doesn't it? Because if we resolve this now, then Ryan is under obligation to start it immediately.
Yes.
And therefore, given that we don't have a meeting in August, then it would be sensible to say, well, trial it up until September. So that's almost 2 months, isn't it? 2 months worth of data.
But I thought you'd want to compare a 2-month period of data and a 1-month period of data, so you'd have it back at October for us to review. So we've seen 2 reports and what the content is. So we've had 2 ones to look at. That to me would seem sensible, because deciding anything on 1 report isn't, particularly if the period that you're reporting over is an unusual period because it's the summer period. I think you should go for the report in September or October, and then we can consider it October. That would be my suggestion.
I would also fully support the fact that we could perhaps water down the requirement where it says full details, and because that could become excessively onerous.
Could be a summary.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Just so we and everyone else know what's going on.
I mean, I think Ryan may find it a useful tool for himself anyway, as he's going through his work, to just make a jot down in the margins, just goes into report. I don't see it as a particularly onerous task.
Okay. So we have listed recommendations then, but there are the council resolves and the council further resolves. So are these resolutions set in stone then as they are, or can we?
At the moment, if there's no amendments, yeah.
Yeah.
But we can amend, can't we?
Well, you can amend within reason as long as it doesn't negate the motion.
So I think the only changes we're talking about, changing the word in the second line of the first recommendation from full to summary.
Yep.
And adding a recommendation that this be trialled for a 2-month period and come back before the parish council in October for consideration. That may be that you say, Jason, we just need to put a motion in for the October to review it. We don't need to amend it. But that's just what I would suggest, is that we keep it under review.
We'll need some form of gauge for success or failure, or good idea or not a good idea.
But is that for the October?
Yes, that would be in our review.
So we get if we just make the amendment from full to summary, and then have a separate motion in October to consider the.
We're also changing monthly
to per meeting.
Thank you. Yes.
But we've already changed that. Yes. We don't. we don't have to resolve to
No.
have a meeting about it
It's
in
just-
October. Just somebody has to remember
To do it.
to do one.
Yeah. It'll be in the
and then it
minutes,
will
so it'll
either
be
it will either and then it will be either to continue with it or
Or not
amend it or to,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so do you want to propose the amendment?
I will propose the change of the word full to summary,
Yeah.
and we've already done a pre-meeting.
Yes. Seconder for that? Well, all those in favour of making that amendment? Thank you. So I'll move to a vote. So the first resolution is: the council resolves that the clerk is to produce a meeting report
to council for each meeting.
Yeah, to council, providing summary of his activities since the previous meeting, including relevant contacts received from members of the public and details of any actions taken or remaining outstanding. All those in favour of that amendment? That resolution. All those against? Okay. And then the second resolution is: the council further resolves that the principal headings from the clerk's meeting report be included with the publicly issued meeting agenda. All those in favour? And all those against? Thank you. So we will go to 18 now. So item 18 is the Chairman's and Clerk's monthly report, circulation requirements. To consider a proposal from Councillor de Walden that the Chairman and Clerk circulate monthly reports for Council 2 business days prior to the meeting to which said reports relate. Do I have a proposer for this? Jan, and a seconder? Anna? Okay, over to you, Jan.
Yeah, this is to try and ensure that reports aren't presented to council without being seen or considered for approval. It's not a situation that we should find ourselves in, where we have to pass comments on reports that we haven't had a chance to review. So it's just really, again, getting better transparency for meetings, allowing for considered responses to be made by councillors, both to the clerk and to the chairman, about the content of those reports. And that's it. I mean, it's as straightforward as that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone like to make comment?
I think the issue we had with the minutes last time round could have been avoided if we'd have known what the contents of the Chair's statement was going to be. So I think it's a sensible idea, because it means that unnecessary arguments or unnecessary debate can be avoided, and we also have a clear record in terms of parishioners, in terms of representations from the public, where we have representations relating to items on the agenda. If the parishioners know what's going to be coming up in the Chair's meeting, they can be ready to make those representations on a properly informed basis, rather than trying to deal with it sort of by the seat of their pants. So I think, again, it goes to transparency and good governance, and is a sensible proposal.
Yeah, I would also support it, because I've been blindsided by a number of the things you said over the past, and I think I would prefer that not to happen. We should have a chance to respond and thrash out something that we can all agree with.
You don't have to. There's no requirement on council to approve or agree with the chairman's report. It's just to receive it.
But I think it's better if we can all agree, if we can all be in agreement with it. It just shows the cohesive front.
You're then going to be taking a vote on whether you agree with the statement or not, because that's whatever you understand the situation you want.
At the end of the day, the Chairman's report is the Chairman's report. I think the point of this motion is to give prior notice, so that if there is any points of disagreement, they're informed and properly informed. and that can only lead to, as you say, healthy debate.
But slightly different to what Councillor Parrott was saying, because he was saying, so we all agree.
Yes,
Whereas it might be an impossible situation.
I hear that, and I was putting forward my position.
Yeah.
You're always going to get new information, even if you publish this within 2 or 3 days prior to the meeting. There's going to be new information. Ryan is trying to deal with items that are raised by the public that may not come up on this report. I just think there's a danger again of reporting for reporting's sake.
With respect to it, I think that's considered unlikely in 2 business days prior to a meeting. Anything suddenly is going to change that can make either Ryan or the chair rewrite their report.
And also, if something did come up so extraordinary, then no one's going to object to someone saying, this has happened this morning. There's been a car crash or whatever it is.
This doesn't allow for that though, does it? Because it says that it has to be 2 business days before the meeting. So actually anything after that period wouldn't be allowed to be included.
In that case, just have an amendment to say that anything that happens thereafter, which is required to be reported, can be dealt with orally. But everything that up until the 2 days before should be capable of being captured.
I was just thinking, what you said that you had I'd said previous things in my reports that were against you, but I don't know what I reported.
You twice said in your opening report that the fact that there was no insurance cover was because I was a councillor. Now I can understand why you said that, because that's the letter you had from the broker. However, to have that said to you in front of the public and with no forewarning is quite embarrassing and quite upsetting, especially when you have no right of report to retort, and especially when you go home and do a Google search and very quickly find out it's probably wrong. Yes, and it's simply not fair, and that's why I will be supporting this motion.
Okay, so I can, as I said many times, I can only act on information I have. And in fact, if I would believe in that instance, I would still act on the, unless we had new information from the broker or insurer, then it probably wouldn't have changed my opinion, because that was the opinion that was supplied to the council. So the chairman's report is to receive only. It's not, the chairman's report would never ask members to make a decision on anything in that report. So it is only to receive. And you do have, as members, ways of coming back on those things, as you have done.
Well, when Jan asked to speak at the end of the report last year, you
yes,
said no.
because it's a receive only.
Right, well, so when can we retort?
This is to try and avoid that situation, so that we don't have the situation where you present a report which we haven't seen.
You're suggesting
you're
suggesting that you want to write the report for me.
No,
you are. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
That's not what's being said.
So I think it is.
It's not anything like that.
I think I'm allowed my own opinion on the matter, and I can see that if what you want to do is to decide on what my report states, then you'd have to bring it to a meeting as a motion. Yeah, so we can decide the meeting before I then make that report. That's how it would be done.
But that's not what's being said. If you look at the recommendation, it's just that you circulate your report, not that anyone has a right to comment.
Both Jan and Will have both said about that they want to be able to
prepare
approve it.
No, they want to be
in
able
your
to
opening,
prepare
you
for
said
a meeting.
approval. So that you can get approval.
Nitpick about words, Jack.
No, but
No, look at the recommendation.
It's a question that we want to avoid situations like we had last time,
What
where you presented
situation?
a report. I didn't approve of everything that was in that report, but I wasn't allowed to question it.
But this doesn't change
And
the
this would completely resolve that matter,
No,
because
it
I could
wouldn't.
raise that with you prior to the report and say, Jason, why do you want to include this in your report? And we do it orally over the telephone and it's done.
Well,
Without that
I've asked you to
opportunity.
speak on another matter and you haven't. But it wouldn't necessarily change my report, would it?
No, I'm not asking you to change your report.
You are.
No, I'm
You
not.
said. We said when you opened it that your opening statement on this is that you wanted to seek approval. That I should seek approval from other members on my report.
But that's not what the recommendation is. All we're voting on at the moment is the recommendation. And the recommendation is the council resolves that both the clerk and the chairman should circulate their monthly reports, and that should obviously be pre-meeting reports, to all councillors at least 2 business days prior to the parish council meeting to which the said reports relate. That is the extent of the resolution that is being sought. Now, what happens after that, that's fine, but once you've circulated it, that is your report. No one's asking you to change it. It's about having prior notice of it, and that's what the recommendation is. And that's the recommendation that is agenda item 18. It's just about circulating the document.
There's nothing here about approval, Jason.
It is what you said, Jan.
The motion is as is written in the motion.
Well, I know, as Councillor Laney has just said, that is the case.
I don't want approval.
You did. I'm afraid
I want
you
to
did.
see it prior to.
Yeah.
It's.
I will get to the resolution, but obviously Anna has just read it. But in what you said, you wanted to see the document so that you could discuss it and approve it before I read it at a meeting.
No, it wasn't what I said. I think you're twisting my words.
I wrote down approval when you said it.
I did not say that I want to approve your report.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's not what this motion is about. It's about transparency, so that we don't get stuff foisted upon us at a meeting without having had a chance to see it and discuss it with you.
I fully accept that if there was a long report, detailed long report, then yes, that would be circulated before, but not a normal report that I'd have to give. It's a receive only report anyway.
Exactly.
To try to dictate what.
So for us
I'm
to see
saying
it,
in a report.
for us to see it prior to a meeting is not a big deal.
No, the difference is what you're asking an unpaid elected member of the council to do is to abide by a ruling that says I have to make a report available 2 business days before. I fit my council work into my own life, and to have a rigid timetable for when I have to produce a report for something that I want to do council work, but it should be on my terms as much as possible. And what you're asking is for me to have to in some way give up my time at an appropriate point before a meeting to deliver a report, just so you can have a look at it beforehand.
But I think we all have to give up our time before.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yes, but you're asking me to give up my time at a specific point in time, and I said that I'm sure most councillors fit council work into their own lifestyle, and what you're asking is that I have to abide by a particular time frame.
But if we don't have some kind of parameter in there, Jason, you could send it out at 7:25 on the night of the meeting and say you circulated it and no one's seen it. So I mean, if you want 1 business day, I'm happy to do 1 business day.
It makes no difference. That would be a Wednesday or a Thursday, wouldn't it, in a week?
I'm sorry?
You said if it's 1 business day before, so 2 days would be Wednesday, or 1 day would be Thursday, wouldn't it?
No, that's a clear day. Depends whether you're going clear days or not clear days.
It says business days here.
Yeah, but it doesn't say clear.
So you could send it Friday morning, that's a business
That's a business day.
You could
Doesn't
send
say
it
clear
at 8
business
o'clock,
day.
and the business day hasn't started on that Friday.
And we're being pedantic about words now, aren't we?
I was trying to be helpful by providing a time parameter, which I thought would be helpful.
Well, from my point of view, no, it's not. But that's
Well, let's have it 2 days before the meeting.
I think all we're going to do is argue around this. If there's any amendments any members would like to make, then please make them now. Otherwise, we move to a vote. So, Anna.
I'd like to propose that the monthly report is changed to the same as wording we had before, so pre-meeting report.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that? Yeah. All those in favour of changing monthly report to meeting report? Thank you. So,
Can I just
Yes.
ask what the difference is between the clerk's report and his, what have we just discussed?
Yeah, the last meeting was the first time I put a clerk's report on there. I was under an obligation to do so.
No,
I only did it to try and
that was-
update councillors on some items. So,
We're talking about compliance.
yeah, so this is, I would just submit what was done previously because it's the same report.
Yeah.
But as I said, up until
So
last
is
month,
that separate to and it will include?
no, I'm only producing one.
I was going to say, we don't want
No,
multiple reports.
no, it's just the timing of the
We're reporting
circulation.
ourselves into the ground
No,
again.
no, it's just the timing of the circulation. That's why we took them together.
Okay. Let's, so with that amendment then, recommendation, council resolves that both the clerk and the chairman should circulate their meeting reports to all councillors at least 2 business days prior to the parish council meeting to which said reports relate. All those in favour? All those against? Good. So we go back to item 12.
No, I think we're taking 15 was the vote.
Oh, was it? Oh, yes, 15 then. So this is to consider a proposal from Councillor de Walden that the Council open discussions with Hampton State regarding the future occupation and management of the council-owned land at Wood Lane. Do I have a proposer for this? Jan, the seconder? Anna? Okay. Jan, would you like to introduce it?
So as Bridget has already alluded to earlier in the meeting, that Hampton Estate are keen to open discussions with the council again on returning the land to the status quo that existed prior to the decision to sell off the land. The purpose of this motion is to ensure that that land is well looked after, cared for, that no financial outgoings will be incurred by the parish council, and that the parishioners living close to that land can be assured that the land is going to be maintained as a buffer against development. As I said, Hampton are keen to enter into those discussions, and I hope everyone will support the motion.
How do you know that the council will not incur any financial outgoings in relation to the land?
Better than they did before.
What if someone fly tips on it?
Sorry?
What if someone fly tips on the land?
Shoot them. It's never happened before, so.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
I don't think there's a reason not to.
No, I was just asking how we can be sure that this agreement would make sure there were no financial outgoings as it's listed.
Well, I think we're seeking to minimise every foreseeable. Okay, if there's fly tipping with, that would have to be dealt with, but that goes for any piece of land that we own. You know, if somebody wants to go and fly tip, you know, heaven forbid, on the wreck, those are things that we have to deal with. But the chances are so small. It has been said before, it's time to draw a line under Wood Lane. This gives us an opportunity to draw a line under it, potentially. And what I would suggest, and I have suggested, is that what's Resolution 12, which is Councillor Butcher's resolution, we defer that to the next meeting. We see if over the summer we can come to an agreement that works and addresses fears such as fly tipping and the like. And then if it doesn't work for whatever reason, heaven forfend, we've then got Councillor Butcher's agenda item there to fall back on. But this is a way to move forward once and for all, and finality and no risk or minimal risk and cost. And it just seems sensible to explore it. We're not committing anyone to definitely accept it. The recommendation, the resolution, is to have discussions, to report back, and then basically to discuss. And I think that's healthy.
Ian, you like to say anything?
Yeah, a couple of points. You said this would, doing this would limit or restrict development. Is there some idea that development is going to occur on that land or adjacent land?
Who are you asking?
You, sorry, yeah, you said it would minimise the risk of development.
I think Hamptons have said that they certainly don't plan to make any developments there.
Right, so it's got nothing to do with the potential for development then.
But I think there might be a sense. It's one of those things that there's always a fear out there, and we have to be realistic. That there is a fear that it will be developed. Therefore,
the plot of land.
The plot of land behind.
Right.
So there'd be development at the heart of the village.
You mean Hampton Estate land that adjoins Wood Lane land?
Yes.
Yeah.
So maintaining that as and I think your wording, Jan, if I may, a buffer against development, exactly what it is. It's keeping that buffer in place.
Well, what would the agreement do more than
Well, that's what we want
currently in place in regards to the development?
But that's what we need to explore.
Okay.
And I think it would be prejudicial for anyone to say anything in this meeting before a resolution has been passed about what the agreement may or may not be.
No, I wasn't asking. I just don't know what difference it could make. I was just.
Well, and that's something that would need to be. That's why the recommendation is to open discussions.
Well, the one point I would say on that is, I believe, if I'm correct, when Bridget came to the council meeting and made the statement, after that meeting, I believe you contacted Hampton Estate on what would be, for a wider discussion point on that. And I believe you were supplied with a copy of what you said. I think that's right.
Yeah, that's what Bridget said. Yeah.
And I believe that was what was on offer as the agreement in principle at that time. So unless Hampton Estate are willing to change their position now, then all we had to go on at the time was Bridget's statement.
That's why
That's why we want to open discussion.
to open discussions to flush out those issues.
Well, we tried, I believe, after Bridget said.
Query whether we should have been without a resolution in place.
Sorry?
Query whether we should have been without a resolution in place with an ongoing JR. You need to be careful. There was an ongoing JR. There shouldn't have been discussions going on between the PC and an adjoining landowner if there's an ongoing JR.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't any, because all that was returned was the copy of the statement.
Yes, but discussions were opened, Jason. That's the problem.
No, they weren't. They were asked for anything else.
And that's the point you asked. When there was an ongoing JR, it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
Please speak up, because obviously we want everyone
If
to
there's
hear.
an ongoing JR and a threat of judicial review, which is about a landowner, a parcel of land, Hampton Estate are down as an interested party, one party shouldn't be opening lines of communications which could potentially undermine the JR. The court would view that so seriously. So what I'm saying is, and to hold the line here, I don't think we should be debating what the Hampton Estate may or may not agree in relation to this piece of land. This resolution is about starting discussions to explore what the options are.
Absolutely. The only question that I had was, if a resident was to contact me and say, I've read the paper, and it says that by agreeing to this today, I'm going to be assured that the land will be maintained as a buffer against development. What do I say to them to say that this is this is the reason why.
You say you're about to open discussions with Hampton Estate.
But so we don't, right, so we don't actually have an answer at the moment, but we could do in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Yeah, absolutely.
the way it's worded is almost like that's a guarantee kind of thing.
It's not worded, it's supposed to be worded like that.
Right.
I'm not giving any guarantees against development, I can't do that.
No. Yeah.
And I think it's the final paragraph and consideration. Hampton Estate have themselves indicated their willingness to adopt a solution and keenness to bring this matter to a satisfactory conclusion acceptable to all parties. It shows that there's got to be further discussion to clarify those sorts of points.
But all parties would have to include all those that previously indicated some sort of preference over the land.
No.
Yes, it would.
Why?
Well, because what is all parties if it is not those that have previously indicated some sort of response to what we did before?
This is the parties to the discussion, so it's the council and the Hampton Estate.
You can't exclude the rest of the other options, can you? Surely you're then going into exclusive negotiations.
Well, you're reporting back to the parish, so with
You're not doing
the results
anything.
of those
You're not doing.
discussions.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's nothing opaque about it at all.
And the
I'm not
whole.
saying it's opaque. I'm just saying you're going into exclusive conversations and discussions with one
To preserve
potential.
to preserve the status quo. We're not selling the land.
Well, I'm not saying you are, but you're excluding any other options by agreeing one single option.
To bring it back to where it was
It's
effective.
where it is rather than where it was.
And where it worked perfectly well for the whole village.
Well,
And that's what we
I
want to
wouldn't
go
really
back
say
to.
that's true.
Actually, it doesn't
Draw
work.
the line.
No, Jan, you can't say for the whole village because I speak to lots of people that and has been previously expressed in our meetings that the whole village is not part of that 83% of respondents.
But 83% of the people put their hand up to have a voice, and we need to listen to that voice.
I'm not saying they're not, but I'm saying there are lots of people that don't agree.
But they didn't put their hand up. It's a
They
democracy.
had the opportunity.
It's
No,
a
but-
democracy,
stand
so
up
you put
against
your
it,
hand
they
up
want
to
to.
be
But members look at the information that they have in front of them and make a decision based
And
on
the
the
only
information.
information we have in front of us is the information that we received as a council in response, and that was 83%. Now you can't then say, well, look,
That was not the only information.
but that's the only information we should be taking account of.
Well, of course not. We have to take account of all information and all parties. The options appraisal document
Yes, but in terms of
listed
what
a
the-
whole range of options that we considered. I think the problem is the last recommendations. The council resolves that any proposed/agreed solutions be approved/implemented. So you're effectively saying that whatever the negotiation what agreement might be made through those negotiations, and will have to be agreed by council. That's what you're saying in that resolution.
Well, in which case, go with resolve to open discussions as soon as possible and to report back to the parish with the results of those discussions. And then it can be a further motion to implement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can't at all be that
But if we
that,
did those
that
two,
we
then
tie the council to a particular outcome.
but if we got rid of the third one, then the next meeting that we can have a report on the discussions and where we've got to.
Well, we can vote on that, can't we? I think
So in that case, should I propose to remove that last bullet point?
we can just vote for it, can't we? And
Okay.
Well, however you wish to vote on it. But my comment would be that it ties the council into an impossible situation. I think there are certainly wider issues with going down the route of looking at just one entity to control that piece of land. And hence why I have brought a motion that considers everything or everyone, and also that that would be a less legally challenged route if we go back to our judicial review, because we have to abide by legislation on how we deal with land. If we were to go down the route of a particular agreement, then it depends how that agreement is seen in the eyes of the law. Leases, I'm sure you know, are disposal, and if it comes down to disposal, then it has to go out to be put out to anybody that wishes to put in a bid for that land. So there's a multitude of legislation and things that need to be considered with how we take on going down that route. And I think getting the legal aspect correct now is forefront of my mind, because we certainly don't want to be in a position that if we were to be in agreement with Hampton Estate, that is not cannot be challenged by somebody else.
I don't think there's any harm in opening discussions and getting a report back over the summer period and deferring your wider motion, so we've got full information which we can deal with. I'm not saying that your motion comes off the table. I'm just saying it's the summer, so let's use that time to explore options. And then the next
We're only
meeting-
exploring one option here, aren't we?
That's the trouble.
We're not exploring all the options under this motion.
No, we're exploring the status quo.
The status quo is the land.
Yes.
The land is currently it's unprotected. It's
What do you mean by unprotected?
well, there's
There's a fence around it and a gate across the front.
no. It's unprotected from occupancy, and as I understand it, any council is under a legal obligation to make sure that it protects its land. So we have no easement in place. We have no agreement in place at all. So there are many things that are legally required. The previous motion was trying to make it less costly, whereas we can see now that is not the case. If we're going to deal with the land, whether it's retained, under what status it's retained, or if it's disposed of and what method it's disposed of, it's just going to cost us money. We cannot leave it. The status quo is not a position that I believe the council, or in fact the clerk as proper officer, can leave where it is. So something has to be done about it from a legal point of view. This motion doesn't address any of those legalities. The one that I'm putting forward does. It makes sure that we, as a council and parish...
We're not on yours at the moment, though, are we? On this
No,
one?
but you've referred to mine.
Yeah.
You've said several times about deferring my motion. So you're correct, though. We are on this motion. I think unless there's anything else...
Well, I'd just like to say that when Bridget put it up in the March meeting, it was particularly well received by the village. And we're proposing a motion that is hopefully going to be supported by the majority in the village. And that's, that is, at the end of the day, our raison d'etre of being parish councils, to try and provide stuff and solutions to the problems that the village has and envisages. And this proposal is a way of returning that without, as I say, without incurring financial outgoings.
We will have to incur financial outgoings to make sure it is...
Well, that's down the road, Jason.
No, we need to be getting on with that now.
I don't think we do. I think...
Well, there have been other proposals that were well received from the floor, as well as the one from the Hampton Estate. So which you can't select one without considering the others that have been raised. Can you? I don't think, in terms of openness. clarity.
Transparency.
I think before the decision came to sell the land, it had been chunking along very nicely, thank you.
Yes.
And everyone was
No.
particularly happy with that.
No, I'm afraid it hadn't. Hence why the motion came about. Right. So before you were perhaps in the village, I'm not sure, but there were issues that came about that put that piece of land on everyone's radar, and that's why the motion came about. It wasn't chugging along very nicely. The status quo, as it right is now, because nothing has changed, something needs to change because the council is unprotected. That's all of our property is currently unprotected because of the nature of where it is and Hampton Estates' use of that land and also crossing that land. So these things need to be resolved. So I don't think it's fair to say that everything was okay, and I'm not going to go into the reasons.
But I think it would be. Now. But I think it would be useful because, other than the Critchell Down rules issue, which was a legal issue behind the scenes, frankly, the actual use of the land in terms of the outward use, in terms of how it affected parishioners, which I think is what Jan was talking about, wasn't causing problems, was it?
Yes.
What was causing the problem?
In which way?
What was the problem?
The way the land was being used.
Had some
On
sheep
occasion.
Had some sheep on it. Every now and again.
No, I don't think that's what Ian's referring to.
Okay, so what's Ian referring to?
There was a lot of angst when the land was used for car parking for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be used for car parking because that's contrary to the covenant, so I can understand why there's angst about that. But that's one issue, and that's 2 hours. Other than that, the land was rubbing along, as Jan says.
No, I think you're simplifying it somewhat.
So what else?
The land, and in fact, as far as I'm aware, the land actually was it was never permitted to be parked on. It was only that it could be crossed and cars could be parked on Hampton Estate land. So if the council's understanding was that's the usage, unless a council member can't stand there and police it, we have to hope that those that are using our property, whether that's any of the recreation grounds or the pavilion, abide by the rules that we set out. So if the covenants were broken, it was not at the because of the council, it was because of the usage.
But we're talking about, from what Ian said, 2 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what else is stopping this land just going back to how it was?
Well, those complaints that were made, yes, on various occasions, highlighted the fact of the problems.
Well, we said there's only one issue.
One occasion.
One wedding car park.
There was more than one complaint.
Yes, but in relation to the same event.
I don't know exactly.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Um,
It was one event, one wedding car park.
I believe there was more than one use of that land in that method.
It wasn't because no one remembered.
Do you remember it? Sorry, what did you say?
I'm just saying, let's be careful. We need to be accurate.
We do, and I'm suggesting that, as I recall it, there were more issues about the use of that land or how the use was perceived, and complaints were made. I don't know exactly how many, but I believe there to be more than one.
And I'm asking, is it more than one event or more than one
Yes, it was
complaint?
more than one event.
Okay.
Some of them go back many years, and
Okay.
I can't remember the exact detail or the dates.
So they obviously weren't too critical then.
Sorry?
They obviously weren't too critical then, if no one remembers them.
No, the complaints were very critical. hence why it became became on the radar
The
to make sure that we can regularise the legal aspects of that land.
Yeah.
The issue with selling the land came up because of the Critchell Dam rules issue. That was the catalyst.
No,
No, it wasn't. It was prior to that. But that's not what we're discussing here. We're talking about should we or shouldn't we go into this agreement.
yeah.
Well, we're not going into agreement because we're talking about discussions. We've already discussed getting rid of the third
Agree these
recommendation.
recommendations.
Okay, I think unless there's anything else that's substantive that members wish to say, I think we should move to vote on the resolutions. So, is that
Scrapping the third one then.
When we come to vote on that, we just don't vote on it.
yeah. So, the council resolves to open discussions with Hampton Estate as soon as possible. All those in favour? All those against? So to clear it up, I'll use my casting vote as against. The council further resolves to report back to the parish with the results of those discussions. So all those in favour?
Well, it falls away, doesn't it? Because you've voted against one.
It's still a resolution that we did not resolve to amend. So all those in favour? Thank you. All those against? Thank you. And I used my casting vote to against. So the last motion is. Should we vote on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So council resolves that any then proposed / agreed solutions be approved / implemented. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. So back to 12. So this is to consider a proposal from myself regarding the potential future management, use, stewardship and ownership of the council-owned land at Wood Lane, including retention, third-party management, leasing, community arrangements or disposal, and to authorise the clerk to obtain any necessary preliminary professional advice. So I'm proposing the motion. Do I have a seconder? Ian, thank you. So some of it we have covered, but the reason that I've brought this is for reasons stated earlier, that we do need to regularise on the legal aspects of the land, and I think that is part of that is already legislated for. So we do need to at least look at those parts sooner rather than later. But the motion goes much further than yarns in that I think we should be looking at all those previously interested and those that may well come out of the woodwork if it's made public. So hence why I've brought the motion. I believe it's right to consider that, and you are correct, you know, to be able to sort out what we can do with the land and an agreement be made one way or the other on it that will last for some time. So anyone have anything they wish to say?
How does it fit with the standing order? Because obviously we had the resolution to reverse the sale. One of the options that must be up for grabs is sale, if we're considering all the options. But we have, as our standing order 7B, when a motion moved pursuant to standing order 7A has been disposed of, which is where we are, no similar motion may be moved for a further 6 months. It just seems to me that this is a similar motion. We're looking at what we do with this land, and aren't we about to walk straight into a bear trap, which leaves us exposed?
So would that not have applied to Jan's motion?
No, because it was a single option.
Okay, but
I'm raising it with you because
I think we're not-
Will raised it as in relation to item 12, and he's obviously not in the room.
yeah.
Because as with the previous motion, it'd be exploration at this point as well. So it's just into looking at the options that are available, not to commit the council to any of them at this stage.
But then we'd be in a position that when we couldn't move on it because then we would be squarely in 7B territory. And I think it's the point that Jan made at the last meeting that we're scratching at scabs.
I don't see this as scratching at anything. I think we're looking. It would be looking seriously at all the issues. The issues of how it is occupied, who occupies it, under what legal arrangements there are to do so, which will protect. It's a case of protecting publicly owned land. This isn't those that are in the vicinity that have the only rights over this land. I'm afraid it belongs to the whole parish, and this considers what the whole parish may wish to see done to the land.
But that doesn't deal with the 7B point.
No, did we not receive some solicitor guidance on that point?
Yeah, I think it's because, as you said, the judicial review itself would have meant that we didn't have to wait 6 months. But I think, in my opinion, I don't think this is a similar motion because that was to an explicit resolution to dispose of the land, whereas this is to look into all of the options, including Hampton Estate, Seale Village Hall, and everything else. So it's.
But it doesn't say it's a similar motion, and it says for a further 6 months. I can't square the circle.
Surely,
That's a very similar motion to me.
wasn't the other motion that we discussed was to retain or dispose?
Yeah, could be any of the number of things listed.
Which is retain or dispose. It's the same at its heart.
Well, then it's the same as Councillor de Walden's paper.
But he wasn't disposing; he was retaining.
Well, because that's the same as retain or dispose.
Okay, so in which case, if it applies to one, it applies to both. But Councillor de Walden's has been voted down.
Yeah, my advice would be the same to Councillor de Walden's paper, that it's different enough because it's looking to explore the options available to the council, not to commit to anything at this particular time.
This is gathering evidence, isn't it? Or not gathering evidence, sorry, gathering information.
Yeah.
I still find it difficult to understand how you square away reopening something like this so soon after the judicial review has been finalised. With the
When was the rule?
sorry.
I'm just saying in terms of a specific rule in the standing orders.
No, I'm thinking just in terms of the hurt that was caused to the village by the previous motion. I think to reopen a motion like this now, immediately after we've just sort of hopefully put the thing to bed for a bit, just begs the question: why the rush? Where's the desperate need to go down? Let's do it in 6 months' time. When the village has had a chance to.
There's no rush, Jan. There's no rush, and we were. The council was accused previously of rushing, but we took months over the last motion to look at, gather information, and then make a decision, which I'm sure.
So why are you putting this motion in now? Why not put it in January next year?
Because, as I have already said, I'm actually very concerned about the legal status of the land, and we need to sort that. And in fact, as one of our residents has said, a question hasn't been answered since November, and I don't believe that question can actually be answered until legal advice has been taken on it. So there's. I agree that there have been residents that have been affected by this, but there are clearly many more that have been unaffected, but it still has to come under what the council should do, and members need to consider the whole parish. We cannot just be single-minded in one area or on one topic or on one route or avenue of achieving a goal. We have to look at the options. I think unless anyone else has any substantive to say, shall we move to a vote? Okay, so accordingly the council resolves, one is to identify and consider the potential options for the land, including A, retention in its current form, B, management by a council or a third party, C, lease, licence or other occupation arrangements, D, community stewardship or community use arrangements, E, disposal, and F, any other potentially suitable arrangement. All those in favour of that resolution? All those against? Good. I use my casting vote to approve. Number 2 is to authorise the clerk to identify the legal, governance, valuation, access, covenant and land status advice that may be required to enable the potential options to be properly assessed, and to obtain such advice within its existing delegated financial authority, with any expenditure exceeding that authority to be referred to the council for approval. All those in favour? All those against? And I'll use my casting vote to approve. Number 3, to agree at a subsequent meeting and before inviting any formal proposals, an appropriate process and any criteria for seeking non-binding expressions of interest or outline proposals from potentially interested parties. All those to approve? All those against? I use my casting vote to approve. Number 4, to consider any information, advice, expressions of interest or outline proposals received at a subsequent meeting before determining whether any substantive course of action should be pursued. All those in favour? All those against? I'll use my casting vote to approve. Thank you very much. Okay. So item 13 is review of... Oh yes. Okay, so item 13 is review of maintenance work schedules, to consider a proposal from myself to amend the maintenance schedules for both recreation grounds to include annual pitch repairs. So it's a simple, just a line entry on the schedule. We didn't appear to get any further with the schedule.
I spoke to Steve on the phone in great length, and I've let him know the comments from the last meeting. He's got some thoughts about when it could be broken up into sort of times of the year and that kind of thing. So he's going to get back to me when he does do it to make it a bit more comprehensive. So it wouldn't change the actual activities that are on there. But if Steve does leave, then somebody coming in, it would benefit them to know when he was doing the jobs at the moment. He's going to come back to me and with a bit more information, so I'll bring that back to council when we can.
Great. Okay. Does anyone have anything to say on the motion?
Do we need to be careful? Do we know what Steve would likely to do with this? I mean, we need to be careful if he's putting weed killers, etc., on the ground. The sort of the scope of repair.
I think he has accreditation or training, doesn't he? So
Yeah, I can find out. Yeah, it'd be good to do. Yeah.
I think so.
He
Yeah.
worked at RHS, I think.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. So to resolve to agree to change the work schedule. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 14 is Ash United Football Club renewal. To consider a proposal from myself to delegate authority to the clerk to negotiate, finalise and enter into the agreement with Ash United Football Club for its use of the council's recreation grounds during the 2026-27 season, and to report the agreed terms to the council. So I'm proposing this. Do I have a seconder? Ian, thank you. So the reason that I've brought this motion to allow the clerk to do this is because basically we've run out of time. But not that is detrimental. I think the higher charges will be similar, and this gives the clerk authority to maintain at least the same level and improve on it where possible in a pro rata format. So,
have they given us a date by which we need to make a decision?
No, but we just need to get it sorted. I think they're keen now. We have a slight issue that they tend to drag their feet a little bit after the end of the season, whereas I'm usually keen to want to get it sorted as soon as possible. And then, of course, as it drags on, I think they're keener to make sure that they have facilities sorted.
What steps are going to be taken to make sure that we are charging rates which are comparable? Because I seem to remember from a previous meeting it was suggested that we were undercharging in terms of our rates.
I don't believe we're undercharging.
I think we're fairly...
We did discuss it, and we felt that our rates were perhaps cheap compared to others in the area. I thought we had mentioned.
I seem to remember that Will had offered to assist with trying to work out Will Davenport in terms of the rates that he'd got.
No, I don't think that came about at a meeting. I think that was suggested by a resident that had happened, and I don't believe it had.
But is it not worth just making sure that we are charging the right rates?
Well, of course. But I think the delegation will be to Ryan to do that. When I've looked at it in the past, I've looked at multiple different facilities. The problem is they actually vary incredibly. And I'd actually hesitate to say that our rates have always been relatively good, for us.
Are they using both rates?
Yes. Yeah.
The trouble is you can't compare apples and apples because you get different age groups, different size pitches, different facilities. Some places will do the lining for you. Some places won't. And trying to find two pitches or areas that have the same facilities is just
it is quite difficult.
It's not easy.
Yeah. The issue.
I've done it in the past.
Yeah, I think Ian alluded to the fact that we get any club that we have used, on a long-term basis to do their own white lining. They have to provide their own nets and other flags, etc. They have to do all of that. We do provide the 2 containers so that they can keep their stuff within them securely. And it was like, it's only youth football. So if it was adult football, then yes, we could charge a lot more. But adult football comes with other challenges with management of the pitches and the facilities. So yeah, youth football is generally charged out at a cheaper rate. Yeah, but I think I've always encouraged the fact that we have lots of kids teams here, and only a few years ago we had girls playing, which sadly it only seems to be the boys that are playing now. But I think any encouragement we can give to to kids to get into
youth
football.
football's better than adult football, given the vicinity or the location of the Sands Rec, particularly.
Better than the World Cup final.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone have anything else to say? Okay, so council resolves then that the council delegates authority to the clerk to negotiate, agree and finalise the renewal of the agreement with Ash United Football Club for its hire and use of council's recreation grounds for the 26-27 season. All those in favour? Thank you. Number 2, this delegation includes authority for the clerk to determine the hire charge and other terms of the agreement, provided that the hire charge is not lower than the equivalent charge under the previous agreement when adjusted proportionately to reflect the agreed number of teams, pitches, sessions and hours of use, unless otherwise authorised by the council. All those in favour? Thank you. Number 3, the clerk is authorised to enter into the resulting agreement on behalf of the council and shall report the final terms to the council. All those in favour? Thank you. So, moving on to item 16, insurance cover, establishment of the working group, to consider a proposal from Councillor Laney to establish a working group to review the council's existing insurance cover. Do I have a proposer? Seconder? Yeah, thank you. Anna, would you like to present?
I think we've already touched on this earlier. This is simply as a result of what's happened. Just to have a closer review of what our insurance cover is. We've got odd exclusions and endorsements in relation to cybercrime for certain bits of the policy and not other bits. So we don't seem to have complete cover across the board. It wasn't immediately clear to me why we'd made those decisions. We've got certain exclusions in relation, as I've pointed out here, in terms of officials and trustees. We don't have cover for the parish council itself. There's some quite heavy limitations on what claims are and are not covered. So I just think we'd want to go back to brass tacks, go back to the broker and just see what cover's available to regularise the position in terms of what the exclusions and the endorsements are that we're facing. We seem to have cover in there for items that we'd never ever need at the levels we've got, such as fine art. You know, that'll be built into the premium somewhere. We just don't need it. So it's just basically taking a red pen, sitting down with the broker and defining what cover we actually need. So we're not paying for something we don't need, but we are getting also that what we do need. So it's just a review. I think what's happened is the policies have just got rolled over as they usually do. Every year, insurers will write in new terms and write out terms, and it's just making sure we've got the right cover. So that's why Ryan helpfully suggested a working group would be the right way to go about that. I'm happy to be part of that working group because I've already been through the policies with a bit of a fine-tooth comb. But it's just to make sure we're getting what we need. That's all it is, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Just before we move on, in the recommendation, I don't know whether it's a typo, but it says the renews automatically on 1st
It should be
October
2026, you're quite right.
Yeah.
So we just make an amendment there. So if I propose an amendment to change it to 2026, a seconder.
Yeah.
Anna, thank you. All those in favour of that amendment change? Everybody? Thank you. Okay, does anyone have anything to say?
Eminently sensible, I think.
Does anybody wish to, apart from Councillor, join it?
I was going to say, do we need a working group? If not, is it something that,
I'm
your experience,
I'm happy to go and sit down with Gallagher.
and then come back?
Yeah, I just didn't want anyone to think that I was not being collaborative. But I can see why nobody else would want to sit in the depths of an insurance policy. You're right, I should get on that.
Yeah, it's just with the working group, it's a bit more onerous than somebody
It's whatever's
providing
easiest.
advice.
It's whatever's easiest to get the answer. That's all I'm after.
Bearing in mind we've got, as you say, this is renews on the 1st of October. We've only got 3 months, August, September. Setting up a working group and then meeting and getting the terms of reference agreed, etc., etc. We're running out of time.
I'm happy for it to,
Do we just delete from Laney to review?
yeah.
Councillor Laney to review the council's existing insurance cover.
Obviously I can look with Ryan and I can work together.
I think it needs to come back to us at the September
Absolutely.
meeting
Yeah,
before,
100%.
so we've got
Yeah.
time to.
No, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we won't have time to do anything other than discuss whatever you come back with and decide on
Which
that
will,
meeting.
I imagine will be a permutations of we can do X, Y and Z. Do we want that bit of cover or not that bit of cover? And then it will just be a bit of a smorgasbord of putting it together. But the broker will give us all that information in terms of what additional covers cost. And then we can basically pick and mix it to what we think we need, but on an informed basis.
The insurance broker we use is a geared up for parish councils, isn't it?
Well, it's Gallagher's, isn't it?
Yeah, Gallagher and Hiscox.
Yeah, so Gallagher, they're just one of the biggest brokers in the country.
I thought we used to have.
I think we've got a specific department then.
I thought it was a specific policy geared for parish council. I'm surprised you're saying that we don't have any third-party cover.
We have, but it's oddly, the endorsements and the exclusions are a bit weird. So that's why I'm just...
But you're saying that if somebody falls over in the playground, are we covered or we're not covered?
We have some cover in there, but I think we should have more cover for things like that. So that's what I just want to go through. And you're quite right, it is a parish council policy underwritten by Hiscox, but without breaching confidentiality, I've got another claim on at the moment with an AXA policy, which is what sparked me to go, let's have a better policy. So that's why I just want to sit down with Gallagher's and see whether Hiscox is better or whether it should be another insurance provider. But it's not going to... There's cover out there, save for when we... claims against, for example, the JR. Nothing's going to happen with the JR in the next couple of months. But we have got a very short window to just get into this and make sure that we've got the right level of cover, and I'm offering to take the lead on it and sort it out and bring back with a report. That's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah, I think from my point of view, we're in your preamble to the motion there. I just want to be clear that that's your opinion, isn't it, of the policy?
Well, it's my opinion. It's David Turner's opinion because he obviously circulated a note to us. So you've got two people who read policies.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to be clear that it is. So it's a council member's opinion and a resident's opinion, and I would, if when we go forward with whichever insurer, we're going to need to make sure that it's an insurer's opinion that we. An
insurer's not going to give you an opinion on whether the cover is suitable. A broker, that's a broker's job.
Well, insurer, broker, whoever. I'm just suggesting that what has happened previously has come about because of what the broker told us. So going forward, I think we need to, if when we ask the broker to quote on something, we make sure that the broker or insurer, whoever it might be, is giving us back the information. And then you can scrutinise it, but make sure that we're getting in writing then what the insurer is doing. Because from my point of view, where I've been okay with approving previous insurance premiums, I was well under the impression that that we are fully covered for anyone on our land, for however that might happen from a third party point of view. So.
Yeah.
So did it come as a surprise to you that we didn't have insurance cover for the JR?
Did it come as a surprise? Don't know. No one had brought a judicial review against the council before, so I've got no experience of a judicial review.
Somebody harming themselves or hurting themselves out on one of our pieces of land and that's not being covered is a bit of a shock.
We've got cover for accidents, it is. I don't want to get. I can sit and we can do insurance cover for a good hour, but I'm conscious of the fact that it's 10 o'clock.
We need to get on because we're coming up to our 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm conscious about. So if you're happy, I will take away what you've heard. I will bring back recommendations from the broker in terms of what he thinks we need. But I think it's something we just need to look at. In terms of the cover that's there, we have cover for accidents. You don't need to panic about that immediately. But we don't have cover, the definitions of disputes and what's within an insured incident, I think should be wider. But in terms of, I think you just have to, we can't change the cover that's there at the moment, but let's get into a better position by 2026.
I'm with you on disputes. We definitely need to make sure we're covered for that, don't we?
And we don't want any disputes, and we're not expecting any disputes, but just heaven forbid, let's be covered.
Too late when you haven't got the cover.
Yeah, so that's why
Yeah.
that is simply what I'm proposing.
From my research, getting cover for JRs is very expensive.
Well, can we look? Can we let me do the research?
Yeah.
Right.
So, given that we're talking about a working group, and that working group at the moment consists of yourself, is anyone else putting themselves forward to be part of the working group with Anna?
I looks like I've got my friends.
Okay.
Do we
So-
add anything?
Do we need to amend that to just Councillor Laney?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So Councillor Laney to investigate the level of appropriate cover that considered appropriate to the current needs, and to provide a report on the same in advance of September meeting. So
Yeah,
if I make that proposal to amend.
I think as long as you don't get quotations as part of that, then that's absolutely fine for you to do that.
Yeah, okay, and I'll second that then. So all those in favour of that amendment? Okay. Does anyone else have anything to say on that matter? No. Okay, so the council resolves to allow Councillor Laney to investigate the level of appropriate cover that... no, hang on. Sorry, cover that it considers.
That
So
is
who's
considered.
it?
So that would be the working group. So level of appropriate
Cover that is considered.
is considered. Sorry, I'll start again. The level of appropriate cover that is considered to be, or considered to respond to. That would be considered to respond to.
Is considered to respond to. Okay, so well, I'll propose that amendment. Do I have a seconder? Anna, thank you. All those in favour of the amendment? Thank you. So, okay, the council resolves that Councillor Laney to investigate the level of appropriate cover that is considered to respond to the current needs of the parish council, and to provide a report on the same in advance of the September meeting, as the policy renews automatically on 1st of October 2026. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. So item 17 is the installation of a soakaway at Seale Recreation Ground and the delegated authority. So this was previously resolved that the clerk would look at quotes for getting the work done, and this is the resultant report on that matter. Would you like to say anything on that, Ryan? No, stay aside. Yeah. Would anyone like to say anything on this? No. Okay, so I'll move to the vote. So this is that the resolve that the council delegates authority to the clerk and responsible financial officer to obtain and assess quotations and appoint a suitable contractor to install a soakaway at Seale Recreation Ground, subject to a maximum contract value of £5,644.99p. All those in favour? Thank you. The clerk shall report the appointment and final contract value to the council at its next meeting. All those in favour? Thank you. So we've done 18. Moving on to number 19. So probationary period review to discuss and if so decided to authorise the chairman and vice chairman to conduct the clerk's end of probation review. So this is part of Ryan, our clerk's contract of employment, that we would review his work over the last 6 months. Anybody have any to say about that?
I'm just wondering if we need more than 2 people. If there's a difference of opinion, it's hard to resolve with just 2 people.
I think it would be a report, really, wouldn't it? We would meet with Ryan and report back to the council.
Well, presumably you and I would meet first to discuss, and then we'd meet with Ryan.
Well, we can, meet, or I mean, it's a review, isn't it? So we meet and discuss through with Ryan. Although whether we do that as, can we do it as a Zoom call or something? Save your time. But yeah. Any other notes on that?
No, it needs to be done.
Yeah.
What's the timing on it, James?
Sorry?
What's the timing on it?
Well, as soon as possible now. Yeah.
6 months, isn't it? 6
Well,
months.
6
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes.
It's 6
months
months from
review.
So it's-
December.
Yeah. Date of engagement.
Yes. Are we happy for the chairman and clerk to meet with Ryan on the basis of the clerk's?
Chairman, vice chairman.
Sorry, chairman. Yeah, sorry, chairman, vice chairman. Thank you. To meet with the clerk regarding the probationary period review. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 20 is maintenance contractor liaison. To consider and resolve that Councillor Parrott will act as the maintenance contractor liaison.
I'm afraid, given your earlier decisions, I will stand down from that. Because I will have to be focused on other things.
Okay. What do we do there then?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just on push forward. Sorry.
Well, that's disappointing, but yeah. Item 21 is the review of the correspondence policy. So we did look at this, I believe at the last meeting, and we just wanted to change about the timing. So I think that change was to acknowledge correspondence within 3 working days and provide a substantive response within 7 working days where possible. Where a full response cannot be provided within this timescale, the correspondent will be advised of the reason for the delay and the anticipated response date. Would anybody like to speak on that?
I just think the response times are fairly scrawny for Ryan. Be happy that he can achieve those.
Yep.
Yeah, good. The only other thing I'll say is looking at the other policies on the website that we've already looked at, the data approval and the review dates haven't been changed. And I think they should be.
Oh, yeah, on the other policies, yeah.
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 And they're still showing as a meeting reviewed in May 2026.
Okay.
Which should be updated.
Yeah, it just needs a few bits updated. Anybody else? No? Okay. So all those in favour of approving the correspondence policy as updated? Thank you. So item 22 is financial reports. To receive the monthly bank reconciliation and approve the schedule of payments. So I believe this has been circulated to all members. Do we have any queries on those?
Yeah, I've got a query on the Surrey Hills. You remember last time I said we needed to see the letter of instruction, letter of engagement. Ryan said that he couldn't find it. That rang serious alarm bells with me. It's then been paid despite the fact we've not seen that, and I said we needed to see that before it's been paid. And the obvious thing to do would have been to go to the solicitor and ask for a copy of it so that we were actually paying things in accordance with what our obligations are. So I am quite surprised that having raised an issue as to why it shouldn't be paid now, the next contact I had from Ryan was I paid it. And I think if we've got proper governance and the councillor says there's an issue here, our money shouldn't be spent until that issue has been resolved. So I was quite disappointed to get that email.
I would have thought that the invoice would have been in accordance with whatever terms had been agreed.
But that's why
You need to check
we
it.
need to check it. That's our job. And I did raise it as a specific issue that I needed to see it. We all hope that invoices will be delivered properly, but how many times have we been in a bar or a restaurant and there's a drink on there that's not ours? Accidents happen. So, having raised the point...
Are you suggesting that solicitors often don't get their bills right?
Yeah, I really am. I genuinely am.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest arguments and claims. That's why we have a whole cost court that deal with it.
Well, I would, I'd hope that we can, if we don't have a copy, then we should be able to get a copy of it.
And we also should have one for our records, just generally.
Yeah, I do remember seeing a solicitor letter before, but maybe it wasn't for this, maybe it was for something else, so yeah.
So what I'd like actually is if we can go back to the solicitors and ask for a copy of it, please, just to regularise the position.
I don't think I've never received one. The correspondence was I got in touch with them and asked them for advice with regards to judicial review, and we went from there, and then I was invoiced for the services that were provided.
The solicitor these days ever since they have stuff without a letter of engagement.
It just hasn't happened.
That's the first thing you get before you've agreed anything.
Because you have to, because of the customer care regulations and the Solicitors Regulation Authority.
So we must have it somewhere.
We must have it somewhere.
Well, I think we need to ask them, don't we?
Yeah.
Either they issued one, or they didn't issue
If
one.
they didn't, then we need to raise it as an issue with them.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue.
Okay, so any other queries on?
Yeah, so we haven't got a full set of financial reports, as Ryan said, but it's, our system is falling down because the total of payments here is 3457.42, but there's payments in period of 5,538.26, and we don't know where. I've got no idea what's in that. And we really should.
It's because, as I said at the last meeting, some of the payments that were made at the end of May went through on the 1st of June.
Yeah, but our reports are just not hanging together.
I know, Councillor, which is why I spoke to you on an email.
You stop butting in on the sheet. Yes, I can't make a head and tail of it. Yeah, and it's an area where I do have a certain amount of expertise, and our system is falling down. Yeah, it's where an area where I've offered to help, and it hasn't been taken. And I think we're in, a worrying situation.
We did try and organise a date, didn't we? But you were away, and I wasn't free on the dates that you could do.
Correct.
And there was only 3 weeks between the meeting and sending out the agenda.
I think in a month we should have been able to organise something.
I know, but unfortunately we couldn't. Perhaps, as I said in the email, we've got now time between now and the next meeting, so we can sit down and do something.
Well, no, once again, I've got other issues to worry about now, haven't I?
Fantastic.
Right, you'll be on your own. Yeah.
So are you saying you're
back to?
Sorry, Will.
Going back to the other questions, yes. In the last report, you had £61.41 being paid to the clerk, and you couldn't show me how this had been authorised or what it was for. And do you have any information for that now?
No, I don't. Good. Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm afraid anything being paid yourself is something you should definitely have authority for and know what it's for.
What would that have been for, Ryan?
Probably just mileage, to be honest. But I'll have to double check.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked about it last time.
I don't even know. I don't even know if it's been paid, so we'll find out.
But I think it has been paid. It was down as a cost, an actual in the previous report. Yeah. You've got mileage expenses on this payment schedule of £72.
Yeah.
Can you describe how that's calculated? How does that come about?
Because I drive from my house to here, and then I go back again, and I do it again the next month.
Where do the rates come from?
They're set by the NJC. I don't set them. It's
So
agreed.
how many miles is it?
I will find out for you.
Yeah. And
It's
so
about 80 miles a journey.
and that's a return journey.
Yeah, that's 43 miles or so each way.
Yeah. So about 83 or 86 miles for the return journey. Yeah. And how many journeys does that £72 represent?
That's from June and to today.
Okay. Thank you. The other question I'd like to ask is how many of our the recommendations from the internal audit have we so far ticked off? Are we achieving?
No, I've done no work yet on that.
Right. And also, one of those recommendations, and I talked about it last time, was payment lists and schedules forming the basis of approval must be appended to the agenda at the point of publication. And once again, we didn't achieve that this month.
No, as I said,
none
email
of the public have seen, yes, the costs that we're seeing, and we only got to see them for a couple of hours beforehand. And we haven't got the whole costs, because we've got expenditure here of 5,000.
As I said, it was futile for me to carry on with the accounts in the current format until we worked through something together. Because we would have just had the same issues kind of thing, wouldn't it? And it was unfortunate that in the 3 weeks we weren't able to sit down together because both of us were busy at different times. But now it seems unfortunate you're going to be busy for the foreseeable future. So I'll have to go back to the drawing board and hopefully create something which doesn't offend you too much.
I offered to help right from the beginning of this year and was rebuffed. And I'm afraid, I was assured that we would have a good system going forward.
I know, I mean, we read this question, but the only reason we don't have something is because we were going to sit down and do it. So that's why they weren't. I said that to you in an email.
I did a lot of work and sent you something, and you never really came back to me. You just said you weren't available, and then I tried suggesting dates, and you weren't available for that.
And I suggested dates to you. I asked you, what days are you free this week?
Yeah, and I told you.
And you were away.
Yeah, I told you the days I was free. It's not worth talking about.
Well, I think it is worth talking about. I mean, clearly, if your diaries don't align, then I'm not sure what can be done about that until such time that diaries do align. It does sound as if Ryan is and in fact, I thought we received an email from Ryan saying that you were happy to work with, you're getting together to work on it. But you're no longer happy?
No, because of the decisions this council have taken. Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of personal work now to deal with, aren't I?
I don't know. Is this not something
I'm highly likely to have, aren't I?
I don't know, Will. Is this, this is something that I thought you were going to help the council with?
No, I would have done, but I'm now going to have a lot of personal work on item 15. No, I'm sorry, on item 12. Yeah, because I need to speak to my neighbours, I need to get around there, yeah, I need to talk to them, and we need to push information towards them on what's going on. Yeah, and what we think is the situation, to make sure you've got the full story.
Yeah, let's not go into personal statements now about that, if you don't mind.
Well, that's what I'm going to be spending my time on.
Yes, but I was just asking.
I'm sure you can understand.
I just want to make clear that you're no longer willing to.
I don't think I'll have the time available.
Sorry.
I don't think I'll have the time available.
Okay. Fine. Well, we do need to resolve something with.
Is it worth speaking to our internal auditor? They must have access to. If they've come up with these things that they think we need to do, you'd have thought that they might have some.
Unfortunately, it's within the 2 hours that I work a day, I haven't been able to go through all of the recommendations yet from the internal auditor.
No, I'm just.
I've not been able to sit down, as I was hoping to, with Councillor Parrott and rebuild the account system since the last meeting.
Just thinking they might be able to help us. That's what I was saying, right?
Well, there is another possible other option, is that we go down the route of paying for a piece of software that other councils used, and it is aligned to parish councils, and I'm sure then it can spit out whichever report we feel is appropriate. And that might be an option, because then it comes down to being just a data entry requirement, rather than having to be a financial.
It's not just a data entry requirement. If you put rubbish in, you'll get rubbish out.
Well, I appreciate that, but it may make
it may help things. Yes.
Yeah, if you say if you put rubbish in, that's fine. But if you do a reconciliation every month, then it will highlight those issues with data entry, and it usually is just data entry.
It should do if it's a proper
Yeah.
application. It should.
So is that maybe we should be considering that for another meeting, because I'm
Could we ask
as
to
concerned
look at progress?
as Will is that our finances. I don't have any issue that I can see the bank account on a daily basis, but we obviously need reports that are consistently accurate. So maybe that is something that I'll look at bringing at a future meeting, and we can discuss it, and maybe we can get some information, or I'll dig out some information and circulate it in the meantime, and then we can all look at it.
Sensible.
Yeah.
So is someone going to look at possible software programs to?
Well, there's one in mind that I have that I've seen several other councils use. Well, many councils use it.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now.
Right.
But yeah,
So are you going to do that with Ryan?
I can find a piece of software and I can give you the web address, and you can go and have a look yourself and see what you think of it. I mean, is that something that is a...
Yeah, I think it's probably best that Councillor Parrott has an opinion, because it doesn't match up with his expectations. Then,
well, Will can look at it as well.
Absolutely.
And see what reports it's able to generate and what it's able to do for us. And then hopefully everyone's happy, and we make sure that the accounts are online every month. So with regards to the financial reports that we have now, are we saying that we're not in a position to approve these? Is that what we're saying?
I think we can.
Not with the differences in the numbers.
No.
Because
Yeah.
it's to receive the monthly bank reconciliation, and the figures don't reconcile between the schedules. So
yeah, but the schedule of payments is showing items that have been paid, so they're not going to be included in the bank reconciliation yet, are they? Because they've not left the bank account. The bank reconciliation is showing what's in the bank account at this moment, and obviously that doesn't include the invoices that haven't been paid.
Yeah.
We should have a set of reports that someone can look at and understand.
and
You
make
cannot
the
look at
figures
this and
add up. So you can say that's there and that's there.
Yeah, I think we aren't the schedule of payments is not a bank reconciliation, is it?
No, I see that.
So it's
Something to the end of June.
clearly there's got to be different figures on that than there is on the reconciliation, because we're approving something different,
Yeah.
aren't we?
But it's
So-
just having the explanation, I think, is what we're missing. That's what I'm saying, Jason.
Yes, well, me too, and I think that could be done with a copy of the bank statement or similar to show that the bank rec does add up. But the payments. So if we don't approve the payments, then obviously Steve will not get paid,
Well, if we can,
and AGM won't get paid.
but in terms of,
I think we can approve the payments that are in front of us. I don't have a problem with that. But I have no idea what's going on in the bank rec. There's no backup to the numbers.
so I think, I don't
and
think the
presumably
problem,
there are things that haven't been approved that are being paid. Like the 6141. And that's why there's a difference in the numbers.
That's not there, is it?
but if, just looking at the schedule of payments, I presume AGM landscaping, the grass cutting, we have a price for them cutting the grass, they've cut the grass, and it's £610 plus VAT, and we've agreed to pay them that, and therefore that should be paid. And Steve maintenance is what Steve's maintenance is, there's no query to it, so it's different to the Surrey Hills position.
Well, no, I would question the maintenance actually.
Okay.
That's some £200 over what normal month is. So if that's just for that's the June month. So
Did we ask him to do some extra stuff though last meeting?
I don't know.
Did he repair the notice book out here when
Yeah.
it crashed over?
No, we had that. Alan Powell does that, and he did that for free.
Didn't you have to repair the surrounding
something in the
play
wreck.
park just before the
Show.
show?
He did, but I would have. Well, yeah, he come and did that obviously the night before the show, and I don't know whether he's obviously charged us extra for that because I think his hours are all day on a Tuesday and half a day on a Thursday, perhaps, or something,
It's a
isn't it?
July date anyway,
Yeah.
so not a
Might be
June
good.
date.
Yeah. I think this is why, for me, the maintenance schedule was something that we really need to look at and really home in, because Steve at the moment is a little bit unsure of actually what hours he should be doing. And I've told him to look back at what he was originally contracted for, and so that there is a little bit of ambiguity here, and I think we need to firm up on it, because we want to be clear on what we are spending. We have a budget for it, and I know that we increased the budget, didn't we? Because we knew our maintenance costs were going up.
I think it's a big old sum of money though for his income. So if it's normally 1,000, could we approve 1,000 with the 210 to be justified? I'm just thinking we don't meet for another 2 months, and if that's his income, it's a big old chunk out of it.
Well, I think on the schedule it's asking us to approve £1,210.42, and I think we either approve it or we don't.
He's likely to be doing work through the rest of July, August and into September, for which we always pay in arrears, so I'd be tempted to pay the whole lot, because we're going to end up owing them more money anyway. You can still query it and ask and make adjustments to following invoices if necessary, can't we?
Exactly.
We can pay it and say to him we're paying it but pending for documentation.
Well, I think you'll have his invoice.
Yeah, he sent me through that. He set up a circulator for councils if you want to see where he's got the figures from.
I think that would be helpful. I think for us to understand.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that with £200 this month, we've still got August, September, October, November, January, etc. And if each one's £200, we're now £2,000 plus overspend.
Yeah. What was the budget? Was 12,000, was it? Yeah.
Is Steve aware of the budget?
Yes,
I don't know.
He's worked for it.
In that case, I'm sure he'll work towards it. I thought in some months,
I think
especially the winter months, it's going to get lower, isn't it?
Okay. Right. We're coming up to our 3 hours, so we have to wind up. So what are we going to do? Are we going to approve the schedule of payments?
I say approve both.
Right. So all those in favour of approving the payments as per the schedule? Thank you. All done. And we have received the bank reconciliation. Thank you. 23 is the compliance report, to receive the clerk's compliance report.
The general things last month, one complaint, one pre-information request remain outstanding, both rating to the council and land at Wood Lane.
Okay.
Which is the freedom of information request?
Councillor Lane.
I think I also have one that, for some reason, it doesn't appear, but as it was the same as they returned as you can scratch it, you don't seem to have it anyway. But yes, let's not worry about it.
Okay, so we've received the clerk's compliance report, thank you. And 24, just on the 10:30, is closure. So thank you everyone for coming, and we'll see you at the next one.